Good evening and welcome to Poker Night Live. My name's Mark Prince Charles Banin, and my co-host this evening is the legendary, the one and only Mr. Browning.
Now, hi, Mark.
Now, everyone is hoping for a night like we had a few weeks ago, James.
Oh my goodness, fight night.
Yeah, well, you kept on starting with me all the time, non-stop throughout the course of the evening. You were just banging on me about King, Queen, and other hands. I hope you're going to behave yourself tonight.
I seem to remember it slightly differently, isn't it funny?
Yeah, we all do.
Mind plays tricks.
It does, yeah, especially as we get older. Yeah, it does happen. I can't complain about that too. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about the show and what we've got in store for you this evening. The name of the game is poker, and the kind of poker we'll be watching is called Texas Hold'em. Now, if you're new to the show, let me give you a quick rundown of how it all works. In Texas Hold'em, each player is given 2 down cards. That's only cards that they can see, and basically there are 5 community cards which everyone can use. You take all 7 cards, make your best 5-card poker hand, and it's the betting that decides who are the winners and who are the losers. Now, the great thing about the show is that we actually get to see everyone's hands. That's right. We actually can see their hands, and you can decide for yourselves how you'd have played the hand, whether you've checked, bet, folded, or some other form. Now, the great thing about the show is that we're live. James is live, I'm live, the whole show is live. However, the poker is actually delayed by 5 minutes, which means the players on the other end can't turn on and see what each other's hole cards are. Now, I did say it's a live show. It's also an interactive show, so if you'd like to get in contact with myself or James, there are a couple of ways you can do that. The first way is by texting the show, and there it is on your screen. Text the word poker to 84222. And all you need to do is type in your question, put your name at the bottom, and myself and James will read it live on air. How's that? As well as that, you can actually email the show, and the email address to send it to is poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Now, if you get the chance throughout the course of the evening, we do have a fabulous website. It's www.pokernightlive.co.uk. We have a great forum on there. So there are lots of community members who regularly post on there, so perhaps you want to have a look at that too. However, without further ado, let's see what we've got in store for our viewers today. Shall we do that, James?
Yes, I'll take you around the table,
absolutely.
Mark. And we're kicking off with a $5 sit and go. Just, it's the old style, the short structure, 1,000 chips, and we've just kicked off there. First level, 1020. And here's the new structure, the longer structure, which is the blinds going up every 12 hands instead of 10, and they're starting off with 2,000 chips. It's a cash game, it's 25 cent, 50 cent, and we have a full table. Very popular game these days. And it's the MTT, and this is just a regular standard MTT. It's the $10 one, and we've got 125 entrants tonight, so that's good.
Yeah.
And Mark and I will be looking forward to seeing the final of that, which we hopefully will be joining.
Yeah, throughout the course.
We'll
We'll pop
the
in
final
there
of the MTTs.
during the evening, won't we?
We will. We'll give it a few little dips in. Mark, where have you been?
I've been to sunny Barcelona, and very sunny it was too.
Yeah, because you've got you look refreshed.
Yeah, it's nice. I always enjoy Barcelona. It's a beautiful city, and for those people who haven't been out there, if you get a chance, definitely worth a look.
Come on, then. That was the home of your triumphs.
It was, or one of my triumphs.
Yes.
Yeah, one of my
triumphs.
Well,
I think what people sort of associate with you is the heads-up tournament there. So
they do, yeah.
What happened this time?
This time I had a match with Nick Gibson, who you know, don't you?
Okay, that's Nottingham Nick.
Yeah, a good player.
He's a good player. He's full-time on the circuit now. So.
He is, yeah. He's all around. Everywhere I go, he's there and more. So he's doing the full quota. He had a good innings at the World Series as well, didn't he?
He did.
He had a good result there. He got into some decent money. So good player.
What happened to you in this match?
It was basically two hands that really decided it. There was one hand where he bluffed me off a pot that I only had ace high with, but I took 8 minutes to think about whether to call him with. It was that kind of decision. I just felt that he didn't have a hand, but it was for all my chips, practically. So. Whilst my instinct told me to do it, my logic tells me this is not a hand you want to sort of put all your chips in with ace high. So that was one hand, and the other hand was a little bit of a cold deck guy.
Sorry, on that last one, when did he put the bluff in? It was on the river.
Well, he was doing it continuously, but the story basically, we talk about telling
stories.
stories.
Was there a story?
Yeah, and the story just stunk basically.
Oh.
However, it stunk, but I only had ace high at the end of the day, and
so
I literally took 8 minutes to think about it.
What was the kicker with the ace? Was it
it was weak.
Kicker?
Yeah, it was 5 or something.
So the problem is there. You might be right, but you couldn't beat the bluff basically.
I couldn't beat the bluff.
You might lose to some bluffs basically.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah, and if he might do it with bottom pair or something. something. And,
or he might do with ace and a better kicker if he's missed.
That's right. Yeah, that's possible. So
especially heads up, because people do play aces heads up. So.
Yeah, it could have been that. So
okay, that doesn't sound too bad anyway.
Yeah, so that was
annoying afterwards, obviously.
It was a little bit, yeah, because it was a move that I felt I could have made, and I really felt that I should have made, and I was disappointed with myself on that particular one because
what was the other chance. What was the other key hand?
The other key hand was I flopped a straight. Put a small bet in to induce a re-raise or a call or something, and he just flat called. And turn was gave him the nut flush. But as well as that, it gave me some improvement as well, because I now hit an up and down straight flush draw. So so all the money went in on turn basically, and I was drawing to basically 2 cards, which never arrived. So yeah, so he actually had the ace-6 of hearts. And yeah, my straight flush didn't improve, which it needed to. So I was a little bit short stacked at that point as well, because I think that was pretty much sort of a few hands afterwards. So I'd lost a lot of my stack on that other hand that I mentioned.
Right.
So, but Nick done well. He got to the quarterfinals, I believe, or was it the semi-finals? He got to the quarterfinals, I believe. So yeah, so he got knocked out.
Any news of who's in the final? Or?
Yeah, we got. Well, this is the funny thing about this heads up. Every year, as far as I'm aware, we've had a Brit runner-up. We're never a Brit winner. And this time we've got a Brit in the final again.
Wow, who's that?
Action Jack, Paul Jackson.
Brilliant. He's a top player.
He's a very good player.
I rate him very highly, Paul Jackson.
Yeah, he's a very good player. Very solid. So hopefully we can outdo it this time.
And what nationality is he fighting?
I think it's Spanish.
So
we've got another rerun of Spain v England again, I lost to a Spanish as well.
You lost to the Spanish guy as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So it should be interesting. Hopefully we can go one better.
Yeah. Did you play any other events when you were out there? Or?
I played a bit of cash, which I'd done okay in, and that was it, because I didn't like to mix it. So I only played cash when I also got knocked out.
Right.
So yeah, it was an interesting game though. But c'est la vie.
Yeah, next time.
As they say. Anyway, time to hit our table. So enough about Barcelona. However, if you have any questions, don't forget to contact myself or James. You know those numbers, you know those emails. Just give us a shout. In the meantime, let's head over to a $10 sit and go. So we've got a. Oh, look at this, James. 7-8. Oh, it was 7-8. It's gone. What are we seeing now? Oh, we're seeing this one here. So this is the. So this will be fast and furious, won't it? Because we're in the quite high levels already.
We are, but of course they started. This is the slower structural one, isn't it?
Yeah, level 4 though, and we still haven't got. We've got one player knocked out. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this structure, the players started with 2,000 chips.
Oh, he's got a king high flush draw, JWC, plus 2 over 2, an overpair to the board, so he'll like that. And likely lad has absolutely nothing, so he's not going anywhere in this hand, I don't think. Especially with those 3 clubs on board. Not really something he wants to call with out of position.
Yeah, so average chips at the moment, it's got 9 rounds of play, because each round's going to cost 240. And
there's only 2 guys there in trouble, James, isn't there? Really, Shaky Shark and Robbie.
Yeah. Well, so. Robbie's is on life support.
Yeah.
If he gets out of this, we'll be singing his praises for months. Well, he's got a chance.
So I met a few of the guys yesterday, James. I was down the gut shop because I had the poker bowl final here, and a few of the guys went down to the gut shop, where let's just see this hand play out there.
Cruel for Robbie. He's hit his 10, but of course there's an ace-king out there.
So only a jack will save him, or a 10.
And of course we can see one jack's gone for shaky, but there we go. Yeah. It's trick kings for JW. Oh, so you were down at the gut shot, and you met some of the poker bowl players.
Well, I knew they were going to be down there, so I just headed down there just to say hello. And yeah, it was good fun. We had played a couple of sit and goes, and yeah, nice bunch of lads over there. So,
brilliant. I would have been there myself. I did send my apologies with Nick, I think, but I was playing at the Western.
Okay.
And I was playing in a £500 freeze out, but no good. Well, I managed to come 21st, but nothing for that.
No.
Only 10 prizes. And of course tonight they've got their big one there tonight, which the man who was on telly last night.
Well, we've got a bit of a show to follow, haven't we? Which will be hard to overcome, really.
Johnny Chan. He was here last night. Well, tonight he's at the Western Club and he's playing in their £1,500 freeze out. And they've got a cracking tournament there. It's 1 hour levels, Mark.
Okay.
And they're starting off with 15,000 chips.
25-25?
I think it's 25.50.
Yeah. So
I think it's 25.50. So
yeah, that's a nice structure, isn't
pretty
it?
tasty, isn't it?
Very nice indeed.
And
yeah.
to play with the man, Johnny Chan.
Yeah, should be good fun.
That'll be fun. Who's on his table? Good experience.
I'm surprised you're working today, James. I would have thought you'd be there.
I would have loved to have been there actually, but there'd been some swapping around of shifts anyway.
Yeah.
So I think it was best just to let them lie.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Robo Squirrel has moved in with a Queen 6, and look at that. He's flopped 2 pair, and Likely Lad is going to feel a little bit hard done by it unless a 3 or an ace or a 9 comes along. And no, it's not going to be.
And it's
Of course,
2 pairs for Robo.
Yeah, and for those of
Takes
you
the
wondering
loss.
why 3 would have helped, obviously aces and 3s would have been beaten Queens and 6s.
Well, we've got 5 players left. It's still 81.60.
Yeah, so it's getting to an interesting part of the tournament now because 5 players left, only 3 prizes. There was $80 in the prize pool. 40 of that will go to first place, 24 of that will go to second place, and 16 of it will go to third. So some nice prizes there for whoever can get it.
So average chips is 3,200.
Well, can you believe this, James? Everyone's missed, apart from National Ubers, who's already got the pocket pair. Likely Lad's picked up a straight draw now, as has JWC. In fact, when we're talking about JWC's got the straight, in fact. So 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen. Doesn't want to see a Jack arrive, though.
We can see how the balance is affected now. Because we've lost 3 players, of course, it does give the average chips more play now. Because the average chips now moves up to about 13 rounds of play at the minute. Soon to change, however, because the blinds are going to be going up. But at this moment, they've suddenly got more play because they've managed to sort of chisel out a couple more players. What happens here, of course, is and when you're in these sit and goes and the players aren't disappearing, then everybody's getting under pressure. And then the choice of play they've got really is limited then.
It is. Now, that tends to happen, isn't it? When some blinds start creeping up, all of a sudden you see 1 or 2 disappear very quickly.
Well, yeah, they need to, though, don't they? Because
Yeah.
otherwise, if they're all sat there, I was in one the other day, I think, and we were, or last week or whatever, and we were there, I think, to the next level, and we still had 8 players. I
Oh, really?
mean,
Wow.
It was, well, there was no choice. You had to suddenly...
Well, I remember on this slow structure one that we were talking about, you know, my first ever Beat the Presenter,
Yeah.
it went up to 160, 320, and we hadn't lost anyone.
Yeah, that's right.
So, yeah, it just shows you.
It can happen.
Well, 10-6, Likely Lad's going to be pleased with that, getting a walk on his big blind. And JWC probably wants some action on this hand, I think. Ace 10's a fairly nice hand. He's probably going to get it from Likely Lad. I don't think he'll give up that ace easily. And Sull is just going to push in, I'm sure. And Likely Lad probably thinks he's trapping with his ace 6. We saw him call earlier with a similar type of hand.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's not going to fold, is he? No. So, well, they split pot, James.
Yeah,
Aces and 4s with a king.
I'd like to make a little comment on that play there. I certainly don't think that ace 6 is good enough to trap with. You'd end up with a split pot as it happens.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good enough to trap with. And because of that, he doesn't have so many chips. I think that he would forget about what his opponent's got. I think he himself should have just taken the initiative and bet. And he'd have been very happy for the big blind to pass. Anyway, ace 6 is no monster against anything.
No,
so
that's right,
I'd have been quite happy to go all in, take down the blinds, and that's it. Just have the initiative.
Okay,
So there it is on the screen there. That's the hand. And on to the next one.
And Likely Lad, we just see Likely Lad we win with his ace high.
So he's done well there. He's had a split pot when he was in trouble, and now he's bounced back into it.
Yeah, it looks like could be his day, perhaps, James.
Well, but look, the blinds are up now, aren't they? It's 163.20. Of course, this is 480 around now. And we've still got the 5 players.
Well, still ace high is winning here.
So now they're down to 6.5 rounds of play for average chips.
And ace high is still winning. So Likely Lad takes that one down. Neither of the 2 big stacks wanting to get involved with each other there, especially with Robo Squirrel on the verge and Sull not far behind.
I think Sol should act here. Well, might as well have pushed it all in, I think, really.
Yeah, that's a strange bet there, really, isn't it, James? Don't know why he did that. I mean, if Robo had something like 9-10, he might call him. Well, he's called him anyway, and he's
right.
hit. But he's so far he's okay. Sull is trying to trap here with his King Jack. Oh no, rubbish all in. What am I talking about? Sorry about that. Missed that one.
There we go, and that's another player gone.
So down to 4. This gets interesting here, James, doesn't it? They're all battling not to go out of the bubble.
Yeah, average chips now is obviously 4,000.
But the pressure really is probably on Nash and Likely Lad rather than Sull. Sull's almost on, well do or die, isn't he?
He's, Sull is, yes, he hasn't got much play. He's just got over 3 rounds of play. Or even if we translate it into big blinds...
I say here, James, I don't know about what you think.
He's only got about 6.
In an ideal world, JWC has an opportunity to bully Nash and Likely Lad with Sull on such low chips. They don't want to go before him, do they?
Yep.
So, and he's got a dominating position. Unless they've got a big hand, they can't really do anything.
That's right. The only problem is here, he's got Sull there, who is a difficult one for him, because he hasn't got many chips. But yeah, I think he's right there. I think it looks like that that was probably because he had a lot of chips there. Sull probably, we'd imagine, would think that JW might call him, so it was more likely that Sull had a proper hand that time. You sort of see the logic of it.
I'm not sure if we've talked about this before, James. Certainly I've talked about it with one of the other presenters. But in Sklansky's book, he's talking about when you're on the bubble and if you've got queens and a small stack and you're the chip leader and the shortest stack has gone all in, that you would fold, that he would fold in order to keep the short stack in so he could keep beating up on the others while the short stack is on.
Yeah, I think that...
Do you remember that bit?
I vaguely, it's a while since I've read him.
What do you think of that play?
I think that's slightly over the top. I think I think his principle is correct, but I think that's slightly over the top, and I think... basically, I would use that on borderline hands, and I would follow that principle. But when I got a hand like queens, that is the sort of hand I want to take the small stack on with, because I think I'm going to now wipe him out.
Yeah, he doesn't actually want to. He's actually taking.
No, I know that.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't want to wipe, but no. But I would say, on borderline hands, I'd say fair enough. I can leave him in because I can keep on pressuring the other two. I agree with that in principle. But once I see a hand where I say yes, I'm very sure I'll kill him here, no problems. So I take away the chances of doubling him up and say, I think I'm actually just going to finish you off with one fell swoop here. I wouldn't turn that one down. I'd say swat and just now I'll squash you. But in the meantime, I'd say, okay, it's borderline. I don't need to fight you. I'll leave you. I'll let you stay alive because I could now steal off the others. Yeah. So in principle, I agree with him. But I think
hard to do, though, isn't it?
Slightly overboard to
hard to do,
ignore
really,
the queens. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea. I just think it's very hard.
Yeah,
to
I said
do.
In principle, it's the principle behind it is good thinking.
Well, we just missed a set against top pair, so Sull has evened up things a little. Just missed that hand. He's hit his set on the end there, whilst JWC had that top pair. There we can see it, hit that set on the end, and JWC was in a very strong position until that point.
Going back to that, because I do think it's an interesting point. I do like it. It is a play I do like. I do like it when, especially a player
just
has
one
got
sec, James.
over
There's
half
a lot
the
of action
chips.
here, by the looks of it. We've got King Jack suited against Ace Queen, and the King 10 is probably don't like his hand anymore. No, he's done the right thing by folding. Sull will do the same, and he's called. Wow, he's called with the King Jack.
And he's a big favourite now.
Yeah, he's huge. Only an ace or queen will do it for him. No, that's not the hand. So
we've lost a player.
Yeah, surprising, wasn't it? Sull looked like he was the one going to be out, and JWC restores his lead and more.
Yep.
So dubious call there from JWC, but he could afford it, and decided that he doesn't want to be pushed around.
Yeah, where that principle takes place or can take place, it's not in a sit and go, however, because there's not enough time. So that principle really isn't.
Oh, James, look at this. The threes beats the eights by hitting a straight on the end.
Oh, he's having the cards running for him.
He is, yeah.
The principle of this are in multi-table tournaments where there's still more play.
Oh, absolutely. I'm referring to multi-tables,
therefore, you mustn't confuse people with sit and goes, because you take your chances in sit and goes to kill people when you can.
No, absolutely. That's a very different. Yeah.
Yes, it's at the end of a multi-table tournament where the blinds maybe are still a lot of play in the tournament. preferably your chip leader with over half the chips. And now you can play this, starving the other two, keep on taking their blinds out the game. So in the end, these other two players, for example, now are fighting over less and less chips, trying to survive for second place or whatever they're trying to do. That is basically the principle of it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But
we're talking about definitely multi-table.
And sit and go. Sit and goes, you got a good hand, use it. Don't muck around. You don't have time to get many good hands and sit and goes. Anyway, here's the latter stages here, and Likely Lad, he's back in the game again. 10-4 against 4-5. Chips, that is. And JWC here takes it. 326.40, and JW's got a pair. Is he going to pressure? Yes, he does. Makes it 12.80, but that wasn't really enough, maybe. And up and down straight for Likely Lad. And JW, it's a small bet, and JW mightn't like that, actually. Oh, how wrong can I be? He said, I'm pushing you all in. And of course, he's in good shape, and he's done it. JWC read it right. He said, I think that's a small bet because you haven't got anything trying to slow me down. You read it well. Excellent. And he's finished him off. His pair of 5 stands up. There were 3 overcards out there, but no problem for JWC. Well done to both of you. Well done, Likely Lad. Well done, JWC. Good game.
Yeah, very good game indeed. Okay, so are you ready, James? The emails are flooding through.
Good, good, good.
Are you ready for this? Okay, we've got one from the man with no name. So,
oh my God.
The man with no name. Here we go. Mysterious. It's a text one, and he's asking, what strategy should you take in the first hour of a live game? As I found, playing tight does not help get you a chip lead. So, what strategy
take in the first of a live game?
Yeah, he's talking about a tournament.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I found playing tight does not help you get a chip lead. Well, if it depends how long the tournament is. Is it a slow structured tournament or whatever? If it's a slow structured tournament, for example, like they're playing tonight, 15,000 chips and hour levels, the blinds will be very small, like Mark and I said, we're probably 25-50. At that time, you don't want to be taking huge risks when the blinds are small, so you don't want to be trying to push too hard. In that stage of the tournament, I imagine Mark would be the same. You might be trying, because you've got your amount of blinds you've got in proportion to your chips is a lot. This means you could actually be dipping your toe in the water in position or with a few different hands and trying to catch a huge hand. And if you didn't connect at all, very happily chuck it away, because you don't want to be trying to, oh, I've got to now bully them off the hand. You don't need to do that. This is a spell where you say, I've got loads of chips, I'll try and click trips, I'll try and flop a straight, I'll try and really catch someone who's going to overplay a big hand. So it's not your job to be saying, oh, I've got to get a good chip lead. The good chip lead will only happen if these situations occur. If the situations don't occur, if they do occur, well done. Maybe you'll double up or whatever. Now you're in great shape. If they don't occur, if you've been playing selectively, you won't have actually lost too many chips either, so you're still in great shape because there's so much longer in this tournament to play, and that's the key. How much play have you got? If you've got loads of play, don't panic, but speculate to try and win some of these big pots. You're not interested in taking blinds down, you're not interested in small pots early on. That's later in the game when we want to go to that phase. Early on, play a little bit trappy, try and click the big hand.
Yeah, perfect. I can't really add more to that. Just bear in mind, one thing James did say at the beginning of that, and just in case you forgot about, very important, use your position as well. Very key in those early situations. So you can, it's more about subtle play, isn't it, rather than
playing situations,
over-aggressive play.
It is, yes, subtle early stages when you've got lots of play. If it's a fast structured tournament, it's a different ball game, obviously.
Well, here's an interesting one, James. This is another text number from with another person with no name.
Put your names on. We want to say hi.
If you were playing, this is a what-if question, James, ready? If you were playing in the World Series Championship and you were heads up with the same chips as the other player, okay, I better take this one, James.
Go on then.
I'm only kidding. And heads up with the same chips as the other player, which player would you not wish to be playing against?
Right. Which player would I...
Who would you want to avoid in that situation the most?
I think it's quite a few I'd like to avoid, actually. Heads up, who would I least prefer to play heads up? It's a good question. I think, 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 I think if we're talking past and present, I'll give that answer first because it just springs to my mind. I think I would least, I mean, I'd like it for the experience, but I'd least like to play against, say, for example, Stu Unger, I think, because I think I'd find him very hard to play against. That would be one from the past. And in the present, I think Gus Hansen would be very difficult to play against. I think Gus Hansen would be, he's a very aggressive player, very hard to really, to put him on hands. I think he would be a difficult heads-up player.
Yeah, for me, I think it would be someone like, probably someone like Eric Seidel, I think. As someone I wouldn't fancy playing heads-up one-on-one. I think he'd be sort of, what I've seen of him playing heads-up, he's a very astute player. So
he is, and you know he's one of my favourites anyway, Eric.
Is he?
Oh yeah, one of my top players.
Yeah, so
I rate him very highly as a money player and a tournament player. I think he all-round players, he might actually just about be my number one. I knew him very well. I traded options when he was at Amex, and I played backgammon with him, and he was a top backgammon player. And he's a top poker player. Well, yes, he'd be tough as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be hoping for some guy who'd won a satellite and who'd been playing for about a week.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like the best option, I think.
Funny enough, I'd quite like, believe it or not, having played with him in the cash game, don't mean to be rude, but I wouldn't mind Moneymaker to play against. Right. Because I just feel that he tends... It seems a bit cheeky. He does tend to overplay, and I would hope to be able to catch him a little bit on an overplay. I would think there'd be a chance there with him, because I noticed him in cash games and when I played with him in Dublin, he does overplay a lot of hands.
Right.
So because he overplays so many, he's not so difficult. Yeah. Because you really think...
You know where you are, more or less.
Yes, you really think you can catch him as well. It's the guys who duck in and out like Stu Unger would, or Gus Hansen as well, very difficult. So.
Yeah, tricky players.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks very much for your texts and emails. Keep them rolling in. Don't forget, if you want to contact us here at the show, there's a couple of ways you can do that. The first way is by texting the show. There it is on your screen. Text the word poker, 828422, and don't forget, put your name after your question. As well as that, you can email the show, and the way of doing that is poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Don't forget, same rules apply. Put your... name in at the bottom, and that way we can read out your question live on there. Me or James will do that. So, without further ado, let's head over to our multi-table tournament and see how these boys are playing.
Actually, I thought those were two quite good emails as well. A little different slant on that last one, which was rather nice.
Yeah.
Using your imagination, that's what we like. Get interactive. It's the way to go. Here we are, MTT, and we're down to 9 tables. And we started with 125 runners, and we're now down to 71.
Just to give you some ideas of prizes, James. First prize is $375. Second, $250, all the way down to 10th, which pays out $18.75. So some nice money to go for their $10. Each player here paid $10 in entry fee, and they're all given 1,500 chips, and now they're battling it out for those few prizes that are existing. So,
okay, and we started off with 1,500 chips, and so that's a total of 187,500, and the average chips now is about 2,640, just to give us an idea. And this is where the chip leader is, which is Whoosh. Whoosh, you know who. So
blinds are now 5,100, which is, I think, the 4th level of play, if my memory serves me correctly. So Jax takes it on the walk. Wow. He'd be a little bit upset with that, I think. Probably wanted some more action with his Jax, although by the same token, he's probably just happy not to have too much of a brain ache. Always going to be out of position there for the most part. Well, Ace Jack is putting a little bet, and we've got the same hand battling out for each other. Now they've both made a 3-card straight, but that's not very good with an inside straight draw. So both need a king, and well,
diamonds
Ace likes this now, doesn't he? But that wouldn't have helped him. So we've got a split pot here. Queens and 4s with an ace is the hand that's going to take it down.
And I think a little bit weak play there from him. I think there'd been a check, now a second check. His hands actually improved with a diamond.
I agree,
think the door opened for a bet there.
Yeah.
He had it was a classical semi-bluff situation.
Yeah, excellent
He's actually
opportunity.
got a straight draw and a flush draw. Okay, if the guy's got a made hand, he's underdog. But listen, he's asking the question.
Yeah, the problem
and
is,
because of the
James,
checking, the other guy might think he checked the queen the first time. So he's going to be frightened of a lot of things.
Yeah, and the thing is with that situation as well, James, is that he's only going to hit his flush, 1 in 5 times. So it means, he's not going to hit it very often, which means that he's not going to get paid very often.
No.
And when he does hit his flush, he probably won't get paid anyway.
No. So therefore, why not pop it in there and take the bet down now rather than having to hit anything?
Especially as he's seen a weakness as well, isn't it?
Exactly. We've seen a weakness. Check, and he's not using his position. That's the point. He had position and he didn't use it.
Yeah, I think so much there in Hayes' case, he was really looking too much at making the hand, wasn't he, rather than actually winning the chips.
He was trying to make a hand without any risk, but it's not always the right thing. You've got to have different targets. See what happens. Hang on, my opponent's checked yet again. He doesn't like it. Check. Come on, fire. He doesn't have to fire so much even, because of that board, his opponent will probably hate the bet. Could have a queen, could have this, could have that. Too many
what do you
things
make
to
of this
frighten.
bet, James? Look at this. 3 times the raise, and he can't fold it, I don't think, for the amount he's got left.
And I think that's what Steamer hasn't looked at.
Or perhaps he just said, I want you all in anyway with mine.
No, I don't think you do. I mean, he could be against another pair. He could be against the 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, anything like that.
Circle couldn't fold there, could he?
No, and I think that's what Steamer didn't look at. Did he really think that re-raise was going to get him to put it down?
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't have a lot of fold equity there. So we don't have a lot of fold equity. It means you're just relying on your hand.
Yes, and therefore his hand is probably going to be a bit of a coin flip.
Yeah.
Or
at best.
Or horrible.
Yeah.
So it's a coin flip or horrible, because he's got to expect his opponent's going to have 2 overcards, whatever they are, whether he's even got 9-7, it doesn't matter. But he could well have 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, kings or aces, so therefore horrible.
And the thing with that situation as well, James, is the fact that, in effect, all Steamer was really doing, whilst he went over the top, all he was really doing was just calling, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's a small... OK, there must be some fold equity there, but...
Yeah, but not a lot.
I think small.
Yeah, unless it was a complete buff from early position, which is unlikely. OK, so we're picking up a few points here already, which is good. Well, look, we've got a mixture of hands here. A couple of 7 deuces, pair of 10s and ace jack. So this could be interesting.
Well, 4 times the big blind from Will Tomcat.
Is that a good bet from there, James? What do you like to do with ace jack in that sort of early position?
Well, the only thing to remember here is we are at an 8-seater, of course, rather than a 10. I wouldn't like it at a 10-seater, because I think you're probably asking to get into trouble.
Yeah, he's only got rid of 1 player behind him, so he's not under quite... Well, Stats has thrown it away.
Wow.
He doesn't want to risk it with a pair of 10s. I mean, he's short-stacked, the guy. He's got less than 10 times a big blind.
I think he realised that was his tournament life, and did he want to commit it all there?
What would you have done there, do you think, James? Would you have flat called and tried to just put out a bet whatever, regardless of the flop? Was that a better way of playing it?
Oh, what, as Stanters?
Yeah. Call it and then just push all in on the flop.
He couldn't afford to flat call it, really, because the bat was 600 and he only had 12.25.
No, he had 13 at the time, because he just went through the small blind as well.
All right, yeah, no, but that was his bet was in the middle for his blind.
That was 150 though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but he's only got 12.25 left, because he passed it, and he's got 12.25.
Yeah, well...
in the small blind he went
450,
through as well.
but don't forget it was 13.
So another 75 he had, so he had 1,300.
Yeah, so it was basically he had 900 on top of that.
So 600 from 13 is 700 left, if he calls it.
No, because he had 150 as well. It wasn't 600 on top, it was another 450. 600 was a total bet. He had 150 with the big blind.
Right.
So it meant there was another 450 to him.
Okay, only 450 him. Okay,
Yeah.
oh, but he was on big blind that time. Okay.
Yeah.
So 450 to him. So
I think about 800. Could he have folded Will
so he'd
Tomcat
have
for
had
800 if he
850
missed?
basically left.
I mean, I'm not saying that's the right way of playing it. I'm just exploring, really.
It's a big price to play for draw. It's sort of like playing a drawing hand in a way. If he doesn't like it too much, I think his only way to play it is probably to commit if he's going to play the 10s.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think he's got enough to afford to put that much money in.
I'm just wondering
it's
whether...
such a big proportion of his stack.
Yeah. I was talking about going in on the flop regardless.
And then betting.
Yeah. Hoping that the guy's got maybe something like ace-king or ace-queen or something like that, and hopefully he's missed.
Personally, I'm either all in or pass. I don't do the middle road, just because because I'm more likely to find a flop I don't like.
Yeah.
if there's 2 overcards there, this is pretty horrible. Because I'm less likely to be able to, I'm more likely to be walking into
So
something.
you're basically betting, aren't you, that Will Tomcat will miss, and of course, 1
Yeah.
out of 3 times he's going to hit, and 2 out of 3 times he's going to miss.
Well, but you don't know he hasn't got a pair.
True.
So
But if he's got a pair, then it's less likely to be bigger than yours.
it's less likely to be bigger than yours.
Yeah. There's only 3 hands it'll be, isn't there?
4.
Jacks he had, wasn't it? Oh no, sorry, he had 10. Sorry, you're
Tens,
quite
yeah.
right. Yes, sorry,
Aces,
4,
kings,
4, yeah,
queens, jacks.
Sorry, for some reason I had jacks
Right,
in my mind.
okay.
From
No,
the
you've
previous
got
hand,
4 over pairs to you,
Yeah.
which you could have in early position anyway. I
Yeah.
mean, probably a lot of players would be more likely to have the pair than, a lot more likely to have the pair than ace-jack, I would think.
Yeah, that's true.
So you've got that problem, and you might be trying to push him off a pair, which you're not going to succeed in, or...
No.
So you've got the problem of a pair, problem of him hitting the flop.
So what would you have done in that situation, do you think?
I either whoosh all in.
What do you think you would
Because
do?
then I might have some. There might be amazingly have some fold equity if he really was on a move, doing it with 6-7 or something. Maybe
Yeah.
he'll put it down. Possibly. I don't think very much. I think very slight fold equity, very slight. But I don't want to just call and then I said, suppose it comes over. Like ace, king, queen. Okay, I've got a straight draw, but I don't like this flop, do I? It just looks like I'm not sure I'm going to be able to push when I see this flop because it just looks horrible.
Yeah.
I just don't think I can afford to play it. I haven't got enough chips to play it any other way. If I had more
Give us
chips,
some percentage as to how you would have played a hand in. Obviously, there's no hard
Oh,
and
right.
fast rule.
Sorry?
So-
No. It would depend on the player, who it was. So at that time, then let's just go back to... It's quite an interesting situation as it happens. So let's go back to how many chips he had then.
So Stanton's had 1,300.
Right, he had 1,300 left, and the blinds at that time were...
So it's still the same, 75 on 50.
Right, so 75, 150... So it's 225 a round. He doesn't have a lot of play even now, does he? So, oh my goodness. 5.77. I probably would have gone all in.
Yeah.
I'll probably go all in. It's purely because...
Just explain to the viewers why
the
you
reason
choose that
why
option.
is because I'm looking at my situation in relation to the size of the blinds, and I've just decided I've only actually got 5.77 rounds anyway. If the guy I thought was a player who was at all capable of just pressing away, and he did have a few chips anyway, if he's capable of just pushing, then I might well have just said, right, I'll press the all-in button now. If I thought he was an absolute rock, I would definitely pass, and I'll say, I'll wait for my situation, because inherently I do like to be a better rather than a caller. And I would, because I'd have some fold equity left.
Yeah.
So I generally want to be a better rather than a caller, more times than not. But now I'm in this dilemma because I haven't got very much play left. And this is it's a pretty good hand, pair of tens. And
Yeah.
so...
And he could be doing it with
There's what'll sway...
with a smaller pair, perhaps.
Yeah, I might have. It could be with a pair of nines if he's a mover and a groover, for sure. And now, so I might have a bit where I've got some juicy ones there. Not too many, I think.
No.
Maybe nines is about...
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of players still do it with eights, I think.
Okay, if in that case, if I've got eights and nines, and then I've got the other ones which I presume are... I mean, I might be lucky. He's even done it with 10 jack suited or something.
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah.
Not too likely. So, but I'm still...
What you don't want to be up against is 7-8 offsuit. I mean, that's the
Oh, no, that'd be a nightmare. It would be such a...
So we're playing at the
So
gut shot
devastating to
yesterday.
lose it. Oh, yes, go on then.
And he's all in with 7-8 offsuit, the guy.
Who is?
One of the players from the gut shot yesterday,
Right.
from the poker bowl. I can't remember who it was exactly. And he flops quads with seven. And guess what the next card is? Just to finish it off, what was the turn card?
An 8.
An 8, absolutely. There you are. It's a great hand. Let's get back.
Okay. 55 runners left now. So that's spread out over 7 tables. So their average chip stack now, Mark, is just over about 3,400. So this is actually a juicy table, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely.
There's quite a
Plenty
few
of money
chips
going
in this
around.
table.
Hoosh is still maintaining a good chip lead.
Can we have a little look at one of the other tables? Just have a little dip into a Few more names?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Let's hit that button.
There we go. Through the matrix. And there we go. Ah, not such a rich land here.
No, they're a bit more...
They're desperate.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting how the chip leader on this table is in exactly the same position? Seat 4. So, yeah, curious. Got Nashanubis, who we're watching earlier, who I think hit 4th place in that...
yes, he got knocked out in that,
on the bubble.
Ace Queen.
Ace,
again.
Against King Jack, that's right.
King Jack, yeah.
So he's holding his own here, though. And he's got over 10 times the big blind, so no immediate danger.
Right, pair of 10s for Savile here. Let's see what he does.
What would you like him to do here, James? 450? Is that a good bet there?
Yes, I think he can afford to do that.
Yeah.
He's got 2.5
Should it be a little bit
left.
higher? Because he's in early position with...
I don't mind that. He could ask a bigger question. It's only the thing is, he's given himself enough chips that if he really thinks he's walked into a nightmare, maybe he can get away.
Yeah. Now, the problem is that Crip isn't going to fold here, is he? Ace-Queen. People love this hand, don't they? They won't fold it in that situation. Double re-raises is where they only fold it online, isn't it, really?
Well, we'll wait and see.
Oh, James, you're not Crip, are you? Now, if you were Crip, then I'll say that's a different story. What's going on? He must be sitting out. He must have gone to the toilet or something, or make himself a piece of toast or something.
Look at this, and we've had a call with Ace-7.
Well, there you go. Incredible. He's folded the Ace-Queen.
And, of course, this is a nice situation to get Ace against Ace-7 with a pair of 10s.
That's a marvellous fold, don't you think?
Well, I think Ace-Queen, I don't think it's a great calling hand. Myself.
No, I totally agree, but I'm just saying it's a great fold to see it. We don't often see that.
Okay. I mean, hopefully people on Poker Night Live are capable of putting this hand down. I mean, I prefer to bet with it than call with it. So, because it's a danger hand again. It comes up against... if you're desperate with chips, it all changes then. But, I mean, when you've still got choices there, you've still got a bit of time. I'd rather be betting rather than calling with Ace-Queen.
Look at this, James. A moment ago we were talking about what's on spend, being the chip leader on the table. And look how things change.
Devastated.
Now,
he fell in love with an Ace-7.
Yeah, absolutely. All because of an Ace-7. I mean, what a hand to lose all your chips with.
Yep.
I mean, it's got so few prospects, hasn't it? Ace-7.
Not a good one to tell your friend about.
No,
how did you lose your chip lead? Well, I called this raise with Ace-7.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, that's not good at all, is it? Got to say. Sorry, Watson Spend, that's not a good hand, Ace-7, unfortunately. It doesn't make such little improvement.
And if he passes this, to have made up the small blind and then pass, of course, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because, okay,
No,
so he's called it anyway, so...
Well, he's in the lead,
yeah.
and he's still in the
Well,
lead.
that's fair enough. But if he was to make up the small blind and pass,
No, he can't do
when
that.
you've got that few chips, it would be a sin. If you've got a load of chips, you make up the small blind and someone bets, fair enough, you can put it down.
Look what's at 9 o'clock, James. Again.
Pair of 10s, they're all over the shop.
Yeah, incredible. And Ace-7 again.
Oh my goodness, what's on spend?
And he's going to move, isn't he? He's going to move for
He's
his
going to think,
980.
this Ace-7 owes me money.
Yeah.
I'm going to try again.
Yeah, this is...
Is he going all in with it?
Curtains here, he is going all in. Absolutely.
You sense he's going all in with the Ace-7?
Definitely.
Okay.
Whoa! What's going on? Is it because...
Mark, you're not in tune with him at the moment. You told me the guy with Ace-Queen was calling, and you said the guy with Ace-7 was going all in.
I think we're in Bizarro world, James.
Well, he hasn't got too much time left.
Should he have gone all in, James? With Ace-7?
I would have done myself.
Yeah. No, I agree. You have to.
I would have done myself. I'm against the blinds. I've got Ace-7. I don't think it's wonderful, but I've only got 980 left, and the blinds are 75, 150. Reluctantly, I'd have gone click, all in.
Yeah. Well, look at this. He's going to do it. Will he get away from this one now? He's being asked lots of questions, isn't he, this guy?
He is. Oh, look at this, and he's been really set up. Oh, and he somehow smelt that.
Very strange, isn't it? What do you make of that, James?
Amazing.
Savile, what's he going to do now? This will be interesting to see. We've got traps everywhere, James, haven't we?
I mean, Savile here, I mean, the thing is, Lucky Star's only got 5, 6, 5 more. Savile's got a lot of chips, but he's smelted as well. That's amazing.
Well, look at that.
Oh, how's Lucky Star going to milk this? And he should milk it, of course. He shouldn't be worried about the flush at all, because he hasn't got any chips. He has to really, this is, because of his situation, it's categorical here to slow play.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's right.
Yeah, no. When you've got those chips, you've got to take a big risk.
I don't think that's
Let
right.
them-
I think that's clearly... He doesn't look his situation.
It's not even that big a risk.
Look, his situation isn't that great after he's won it. He needed to scoop the rest of his chips in there.
Yeah, he needed another. He could have done with another 5-6-5 from one of them, couldn't
Right,
he?
and I'll say exactly why that's extra wrong. Okay, he limped in, which I think was perfect play in this situation, and I'll
Yeah.
give him full marks for that. I think that's...
Does it smell too much?
It smelled a bit, but he was at least trying. But for goodness sake, once you've done that play, now don't suddenly go the other way. Now
James,
just...
look, this is unbelievable. The tens are back.
again.
Against six. Look, we're hitting lots of hands, and Watson Spend had sixes this time and folded again. And this time, Ace King, well, he's not going to fold, is he? If I get that one wrong, then we'll just, might as well just shut up and go home.
So you're going to say, mild Joe, tell me what you give us your forecast. Come on, you might as well just sink completely.
Oh, there you are. Well, that's he's not folding now. Now, if he folds, Zion, I'm going to leave you tonight, James. You can commentate on your own tonight.
Mild Joe.
Well,
Mark.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, he's in the lead.
Is Mark
Although he's, well, he's not really in the lead.
Mark's staying.
I'm staying, yeah. I'm staying. Okay. Right, I'm staying. You're lucky, James.
Oof,
I was on my way.
I'd have had all the work to do myself there. If Zion had passed,
I had
that
my
was
coat
it.
on.
Yeah, he did.
It was almost off.
Stood up, he would.
Right, well, I think on that note, we'll end that multi-table tournament for the moment, and no doubt we'll be popping in there a little bit later. Lots of traps there, wasn't there? It was like the board was just bringing trap after trap for these players, and a lot of them were getting away from it.
The last bit there, because you just went to a hand. When you limp with his kings, I don't mind that. He's trying to find ways, but once he's hit his trips there, he's only got so much left. He took a risk by limping with a big hand. I don't mind, he needs to get chips. Keep the storyline, give the guys a chance.
Yeah.
If they get a flush unlucky...
Once he's improved that much.
You haven't got that much... If they get on a flush draw, you can't get rid of them anyway.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of them. They'll call a flush draw anyway, that's the point.
Yeah.
You're going to be killed. If the guy's got a flush draw, you're dead anyway.
Yeah.
So slow play, give him a chance to hit an ace.
At least give him a turn. Give him a turn.
Give him a chance to hit an ace, whatever.
Yeah.
Really squeeze to get those chips out.
Yeah.
And that
so
was a
he bet just too early, didn't he?
That was a big error, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for that analysis, James. That was all good stuff.
That was an interesting hand. I liked it.
It was, yeah. Got a couple of emails to get through. One from Kev Gunson. So thanks very much for your email, Kev, rather.
Kev.
Good evening. Love the show. I've had some very bad beats recently in sit and goes. My style of play is a textbook tight aggressive. However, those loose callers have been getting the big pots and winning the prize money. I rarely play with less than ace queen, as trying to bluff will always result in being called. When I do play, I bet aggressively pre-flop with minimum ace queen. As it goes, I get outdrawn, and when my opponents go all in with jack 3 or something equally ridiculous, I'm considering changing my style of play to the loose call style in sit and goes. Is this a bad idea? One for you, James, because you play a fairly, what I would call a tight, aggressive style.
Right.
What do you think? He's had these plays where, his tight, aggressive style isn't working. He's getting outdrawn by loose callers. How should he adjust his game? Should he go the other way?
I'll tell you what, Mark, I just had to try and capture an opportunity to click a table there.
Okay.
I'm going to let you answer that there because
okay.
Unfortunately it looks like it started faster than I thought.
Okay.
Sorry about that,
I shall do that then. Well, in my opinion, I don't think you should go to completely the other way round. I think you should perhaps open up your starting hands a little. I think ace queen to start with ace queen and nothing less. I think is a little bit on the high side personally. I think you should open up your hands. However, you can be still a little bit more selective. I'm not saying you need to go with jack 3. That is ridiculous. What you do need to do is perhaps have a look at hands like 8, 9, 10 jack, around the button, around the cutoff area. So they're the hands I would open up with in terms of loosening up a little. However, don't go to jack 4s, queen 3s, queen 5s. They're just rubbish. So do that. Pick some perhaps connectors. Anything above, say, 7, 8 perhaps from the cutoff or around the button in an unraised pot preferably. Don't want to call big raises if you've got no chips or if the chip stacks are not in your favour. So certainly do that and loosen up a little. But that's where you want to do it. You want to certainly do it around the cutoff, around the button. Don't do it in early position. Hope that answers your question. Thanks very much for that, Kev, and that's all we've got time for at the moment. Don't forget, if you want to get in contact with the show, there are various ways you can do that. You can text the show to 84222, text the word poker, And as well as that, you can email the show poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Time we had to go for a little break, so don't go too far away because we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Poker Night Live with myself, Mark, Prince Charles Banin, and the legendary James Browning. Now, James is actually, as you can see, concentrating on his Beat the Presenter. Just caught you in act there, James, yes. Looking worried. So there you are. They had a little bit of a tell on you there, the viewers. James is concentrating on the Beat the Presenter. So I think what we'll do, we've got a couple of emails, but so that James can get in on the act on those emails, we'll probably leave those till he's finished that tournament. Should be about a couple of minutes, I think, so won't be too long. So in the meantime, let's head over to 50 cent $1 cash game. So we're joining in this 50 cent $1 cash game for those of you who's unfamiliar with what we're watching. It is maximum buy-in has of $100, minimum buy-in of $10. Unlike a tournament, you can get up and play as you please, or get up and leave as you please even. So the name of the game here is purely to make as much money as possible, and that's it. Whereas in tournament, obviously, the name of the game isn't to increase your chips necessarily, so, well, that's a very important part of it. It is actually to win the thing outright. So sometimes you may avoid certain treacherous roads, whereas in cash games, you'll take the treacherous road as long as you feel you have an edge. So this will be an interesting. Oh, look, he's got your favourite hand, James, there, King, Queen. It's been a raised pot, though. And, Crip 17, we saw him earlier, didn't we? Well, this is going to get him in trouble, and Elvis won't believe him for the ace. So this will be interesting to see what Crip does. He's got a flush draw, but he wouldn't like it too much. Well, he's now picked up something else that he probably likes a little bit more of. Problem why he might not like it, because if Elvis has an ace, it means that his flush might not be any good if he's already got a house. But it's worked out okay for him. He's actually hit his flush, so he's probably going to be comfortable with that. He's only losing to a full house, and we can see Elvis doesn't have that. And he probably can't call. No, he can't. So good fold there by Elvis. Difficult to play sometimes, queens. Last thing you want to do is see 2 overcards to your queens there. But he did, and flush as well. He just let it go. So a good bit of play. Lost probably the minimum that he could have in that situation. Interesting couple of hands here, though. We've got King Jack suited against 9s against Jacks. Now, I would actually like to see a little bet here from Paddy Power for the simple reason, and he's done it. That's good, and I like that. What does he bet? He's bet 4 into 12. Looks a little bit weak, that's the only thing. I would have liked to have made it 6, personally, for the simple reason that he needs to find out whether Fox actually has a hand, and, well, Fox has given him his answer totally there. He's either on a flush draw or he's got the king. And Paddy says, I think you're on a flush draw. And he's not. He's actually got the king, Paddy. So only a jack will help you. Oh, he said it. But no, he hasn't. Because Fox has actually got a better house. Kings full of jacks beat jacks full of kings. So in the end, he was actually drawing dead. Didn't see that there straight away. But yeah, as you can see, 3 kings, 2 jacks for Fox. And 3 jacks, 2 kings for Paddy Power. So he had nowhere to go with that hand in the end. And that's the reason why I personally would have made it 6 in that situation. If I make it 6 into a 12 pot, you're really asking a question of Fox. Now, if Fox goes all in, then you can guarantee he's 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, he's going to have that king. And he did. And sure enough, that was what did it for him in the end. So, yeah, I'm a bit surprised there by Paddy Power. He obviously thought he was on a flush draw. I think if you just made that hand a little bit more oomph behind it, you would have got your answer.
I just want to tell the guys in the game here, I'm not being rude, it's just my chat is off. So hi to Double Top and everyone who was at the P&L party yesterday for the Poker Bowl. I haven't turned it off. It was disabled because someone asked me for my email. I gave it and bang, disabled. So hi to you all anyway.
Well, 9-7. Fox is an interesting player, as we've noticed so far. He likes to get involved, and he's now getting involved from late position with 9-7. Wow. And Uwe, he's obviously spotted Uwe's play. And, well, Uwe's not letting go of this. He doesn't want to let go. He's got bottom pair, and he says that's good enough. He's now picked up a straight draw, but it's a horrible straight draw because there are 3 spades out there, which means that even if he makes his straight, someone else could make a flush very easily with just 1 card, potentially. So, well, and Uwe, what's Uwe going to do here? Tough call for him. And Fox has really, well, he's representing it. He's saying, I've got the ace. And Uwe says, OK, I believe you. And there you go. That's power of position for you. Very risky play there by Fox, I will say that. I'm not sure how much equity there is in that play for the simple reason I'm not convinced that he'll win it enough times by making that play. But we shall see. Be interesting to watch this game throughout. See how many times he does get away with that kind of play. My prediction is that he won't get. All it will happen is that he'll only need to lose it once, and he's lost most of his chips. And in answer to your question, Geordie, yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it last night. It was a good bit of fun.
Where did you enjoy it?
We went to the Gut Shot. I met sort of the guys at Gut Shot yesterday.
That's right.
And I popped down there, and it was a lot of fun, yeah. The guys playing their sit and goes. And yeah, it's good laugh. Good bunch of guys. Easy, Hoik, easy. So, what we're looking at here is first to bet will win it, although I don't think Aui's going to go anywhere. He's not. 9s and 7s with the ace. He must have figured that was good. And hello there to DT, who was also there last night, double top. That's a great thing about poker. When you're out of these places and you're playing away from, and you're playing live, it's a good bit of fun mixing. It's a great social game. And a lot of fun can be had. As long as you don't take it too seriously. That's the thing I like about these little tournaments. You can always have a bit of fun. Doesn't really matter if you win or lose. Of course, it's a nice thing if you win. But as long as you take it in the right light, you can have a lot of fun playing the game. That's what it's all about. And, you know, I think that was reiterated by Johnny Chan yesterday. He was saying, look, if you don't enjoy it, don't play. Simple as that. I enjoy it still as much today as I ever did. And that's why I keep playing. I love the game. I'm infatuated with the game. And that's the thing about poker. You know, if you're under pressure all the time, and, you know, and that's why I don't mind. I like playing these little games sometimes. I had some tremendous fun playing in Luton a few months back in a £5 rebuy comp, and it was great fun. You know, mixing with everyone, and just as long as you don't take it too seriously. Of course you want to win, but, you know, you've got to have a bit of fun at the same time.
37 rebuys wasn't too bad.
No, I only had about 4 or 5. Yeah, it's quite surprising. So, Uwe, well, he likes playing a lot of hands, doesn't he? And I'm not sure 2-3 is a hand that even I would play. So that goes beyond my looseness. I mean, if it was suited, maybe, and if I was on the button, then maybe I'll raise with it, but I certainly won't be limping in with 2-3 offsuit, especially when I've got $24 in chips compared to everyone else. It's not really a hand that is going to make me very much. I think it needs to be a little bit higher than that. And he's eventually giving it away, and I don't mind. But that's the thing you want to try and avoid, Owe. You want to try and avoid giving out leaking chips. That's what poker's all about. It's about gleaning off as many chips as you can when you're winning and making value bets, but also losing the least and not leaking any. And I think playing 2-3 from that kind of position, you're likely to leak them quite often, because it's just not a hand that's going to get you very far. So he's doing it again with King 10. It's a bit of a better hand, but don't like he's in middle position, King 10. If you're going to play that hand, I'm not saying you should play it, but if you are going to play it, I would have preferred a raise, especially if you're first in the pot. At least have some, at least get the bluffing rights on the, and plus you might even win the button by doing that. But now Loosey Goosey says, look, I've got the best hand. I'm not convinced, but I'll put this little bet in and let's see what you guys think. Have I got the best hand or not? And Cripper said, no, I don't think you have. And he's about to do his chips, I think, barring a miracle king. He probably won't give it up that easily. And Crip is hoping for a bet. And Lucy, with his weak kicker, probably won't want to get involved now that extra queen has come along. So I think Crip's missed an opportunity here. I think he was waiting to see aggression from players that hadn't really shown very much. And I think he made a wrong decision to let it go at the end. Very tricky, but when, Uwe's had a little bit of play, but that extra queen coming on, that was a board that was starting to look very scary. Someone could have had 10-jack, making them a straight. So I think a little bit of a value bet there from Crip would have probably gained him a few chips. Probably would have got a few off Uwe and probably a few off Loosey Goosey too. Well, up and down straight, so only a 10 for Paddy Power will win this one for him. It doesn't come. So that was a nice little card on the end there for Uwe. Means that it nullified Paddy Power's ace if it did came. So he's back up to the heavenly realms of $34. Paddy Power having a little look. Well, he's in a big blind for free. He's going to give this up to any bet. Does he realise that that wouldn't have helped? He does. And he's overbet the pot, and Paddy Power doesn't want to get involved. He's smelt that 289 is probably not a board that would have helped you. Probably not one that you would check anyway, if it did help you, unless you've hit a monster, like 8-2 or something. Even then, you wouldn't be too comfortable with checking it. And he picked up on that and says, OK, well, I'll take this pot then. Well read there by Uwe. A little bit weird saying ooh-wee all the time. It sounds like there's something wrong with me. Well, I don't think this is really a board that Lucy can chase. Not with a paired board. It's not a very good chase even with an unpaired board. We're chasing an inside straight draw, especially when it won't give you the nut straight. And in that case, it won't give you a nut straight because obviously someone sitting with a 5-6, if it did arrive, would be have you a better straight. So that's not a particularly good chase, I think. I mean, Loosey Goosey got away with it in the end, but it's one of those hands that you can't always go by just one hand because you won it on that occasion. Doesn't mean that it was the right play. I think it was a wrong play because all too often, you'll win. I mean, just imagine you've hit your straight and the other guy is sitting there with 5-6. You're in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble because now you're going to blow off a whole load of chips. And that's the thing, you might win 10 little pots of $1, $2 or $3 or $4, whatever it was, but you'll tend to lose one big pot when you do hit that straight, and that's the killer. And if that isn't hard enough, then you'll say, oh, how bad was that? Well, a bit of bad luck that was, that I have a straight and the other guy's got a bigger straight. And then you may end up going on tilt, which you lose even more. So, these things you've got to try and avoid. You've got to try and avoid putting yourself in bad situations, and that was with a paired board and a poor straight. That was not worth chasing. How's it going so far, James?
It's tough. they're playing well.
So Fox 23 with a 7-5. He's an interesting player. I thought he might call with that, and he better hope that he doesn't hit that flush, because Crip is sitting with a nut flush of the same suit. Here's a hand that Elvis has got, which is interesting enough, which I actually won quite a lot of money on the cash game in Barcelona with, on the big blind as well. 9-4 suited, and it was clubs, just like we see here. So hitting my flush on the turn and paying me off fully.
I bet they were black, not blue.
They were, yeah, they were black clubs. They didn't have a 4-coloured deck in Barcelona. And it's not to be for Elvis. He would have made a pair though, but well, that's 2 pair now. And Fox doesn't want to bet here. He wants to check call if anything, and he does the right thing, just in case Al was there. Uwe was sitting there with a 6. Would have made him a straight. So Fox 23 likes his pair of 3s. In fact, he likes pretty much everything he's played so far. There's not too many hands he doesn't like. I'm not a minger. Well, he's elected to call. I think I would have preferred just to fold that hand. If it was a bit bigger, maybe 6s plus, then maybe, but 2s, very dangerous. And, oh, look at that, we've got a very interesting situation, because I didn't spot Elvis there with the other pair of 2s. So they've both called with a pair of 2s, so they're in no man's land. Elvis has got the smallest of flush draws. And even if a club does come, he's got to avoid a club on the river, because it means that his flush will be nullified by the flush on the board. So Fox has said, you know what, I'm pretty sure that I've got the best hand. Just in case you've got weak clubs in your hand, I better get this down now. Well, this will be interesting. We've got I'm Not a Mingo, who's got Ace-Jack on the cut-off. And Fox 23's got King-Queen on there. We've seen that he doesn't like to give away too many hands. He'll certainly like this hand. And I think there's an opportunity for a little raise here. And I would like a little bet there from I'm Not a Mingo, because he's seen weakness from Uwe. So he wants to take control of this hand, especially as he's in the cut-off. And, well, this will be interesting, because he's now got an inside straight draw and a nut flush draw. And Uwe's got pretty much nothing, apart from an inside straight draw, which is not a very good one at that. So Fox is betting weakly. He probably wants to find out where he's in the hand so far. And he's let I'm Not a Mingo in quite cheaply. Oh, look at that. Uwe's hit is straight. Gosh. And I'm Not a Mingo now needs a king or a heart to make him a better straight. And I don't know what Lucy Goosey's still doing in this pot. I mean, well, there you go. He's hit it now. He's hit that flush, and how can he get paid on this? He's thinking. What's the price? Probably around, I guess 7 would probably be about nice. He might get both of them to pay him off. 15. He probably only gets Uwe to pay off, I guess, but even he probably won't like that 4th heart on there. I can't see how he can call, but it's quite likely he'll call. We've seen him make some these kind of calls before. What's he going to do here? Well, is he big enough to put down a straight? He's playing it back in his mind. He knows he hasn't got ace-king, so his straight isn't beaten by another straight. It's likely to be a flush. And he's done well to fold a straight. Well done it. Good fold there by Oe. Read it perfectly. Not hard folding a straight, but with 4 hearts on the board, there's a good chance you're losing. Well, he's lost some of those chips that he's gained, unfortunately, and I think playing King 9 out of that sort of position, in the end it worked out okay if I'm Not a Mingo by not raising there, but let's face it, you won't be hitting straights too often, so it is important to, sorry, flushes rather, so it is important to actually make the most of your hand pre-flop when you've got a hand like ace-jack and you've seen weakness from one player, and you've got position as well. Well, up and down for Paddy, who bet it, and he got raised. And, well, that's a nice little house there for Owie. And he's praying that the other guy's got a jack. That's really what he's doing. I don't mind the play, actually. And people say, well, why has he overbet it here? Well, because there is still a good chance that Paddy will call him with a jack. He's figured in for a jack. He's got it wrong, doesn't matter. But he knows that he's either got a hand or he hasn't. And if he's got a hand, I might as well get the full value out of it. So I actually quite like the play. Well, James, I was watching your game just now and I almost started commentating on that instead.
Yeah, keep it quiet because it might be a bit delayed, but at this moment it's live. It's tough enough without you giving the game away.
So a pair of jacks, and he's done the right thing. He's come out betting with it. He won't like that ace too much as the last card he wants to see on that board, although the ace hasn't hit. So he needs to put a bet out here. The bet should be around 6-7. He needs to find out where he's at with this with his jacks, and he has done so. And that's good. I like that. 7 would have been my preferential bet, but it's done the trick anyway. So good play by Elvis. So, well, he's put in a big bet here, I'm not a minger. And he's fortunate that he's actually picked up someone else with a hand. I mean, that's a bit too big for my liking. 6. There's been one limper, and I can understand why he's done it. So, but still, I don't think I think that's scaring them a little bit too much. I think you have to be very subtle with these kind of plays. And I think making it 5 or something like that, I think he's lucky that he's got OE to call him. And he's now even luckier, of course, that he's hit top pair. But I'm not a minger is, I mean, jacks can probably get away from this, I think. Having said that, Fox does like to play his hands. What's he going to do? We've seen him go all in before, didn't we? With a similar kind of situation, but he's up against 2 players here. Yeah, ooh, he's not going to give this up, and I'm not a minger. Might as well put the rest of those chips in, $15. And Dewey's called him. Yeah. And, well, invariably, he was always going to give them away, I think, with his style of play when he's calling hands out of position. I mean, King 4 is such a weak hand. You know, eventually, that's like I said, really, all that will happen is that you might gain lots of little pots, but eventually you'll just lose one big one. And the one big one will be all your money. In this case, it's exactly what's happened. So let me give you some ways to contact the show. If you want to contact myself or James, you want your email or text read out live on air, this is the way to do it. All you need to do is text the word poker to 84222. There it is on your screen. And put your name at the bottom, and myself or James will read out your question live on air. As well as that, you can also email the show, poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And don't forget, put your name at the bottom of that, and myself or James will read out your emails and texts and answer any poker questions that you have. So ace 10 for Loosey Goosey. Well, interesting. A big bet here with the pair of 9s. And, well, and the good thing about that big bet is that it's given command of the board to Irild there, or is it Irid? Can't really see there on the edge there. But he's got command of the board, and that's a nice thing about that play. It does give you bluffing rights, And whilst he was bluffing with the best hand, he could have actually been bluffing with the worst hand. Even if he had third pair. But he's picked up another nice hand. He's got the pair of tens this time, but this time he's going to get a bit more resistance because I'm Not a Minger's picked up a nice hand too with the ace-king. So be interesting to see how what I'm Not a Minger's going to do with this hand. It's a fairly early position, and Uwe's restocked up to 30. Still calling with these dubious hands. Queen 9 this time. Don't like calling raises, Uwe, with Queen 9. I don't mind calling for limping in that situation. See, this is the problem. You're never going to hit enough of a hand with Queen 9. I want to quote some stats to you, Uwe, because I think it might help your game a little bit. If you've got two suited cards, the chance of you flopping a flush is 118 to 1. Okay, just so you know. If the chance of you flopping a straight with a hand like Queen 9, I think is around 151 to 1. So you've got two gaps in the middle. King Ace. Actually, no, I'll tell a lie, it's even worse than that. It's actually 300 to 1 because it's equivalent to a three gapper. So it's around about 300 to 1 as far as I remember. So, you know, you're not going to make very many straights or flushes with these hands. All you're going to hit is, at best, top pair with a weak kicker. So, you know, it's not really a hand that you want to call raises with. All you're going to do is leak 5 at a time, and before you know it, those 5s will mean that you're back down to 0 again. Well, look at that. He's actually, after saying all of that stuff, he goes and makes his hand. There you go. Well, he'd done it on that occasion. There you go, open my big mouth, and there he is. He hits his flush on the end there. Hits runner for a flush. Well, everyone deserves a bit of fortune, and he hits it on that occasion. Well done. However, the rules are quite simple. The rules that we give here on Poker Night Live is not for individual situations, they are for overall situations. And it's important that, you know, we try and help you here. We try and make sure that you take out some of those errors out of your game so that you don't lose too often. Of course, even miracle draws can win. I remember seeing on TV a guy against ace-king against ace-7, and the flop comes king-high, and he still loses the pot, even though he was less than 1% to win. Comes running 7s.
Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, and all the money goes in on the flop. You know, so the guy was pleased, as you can imagine, to see that. So, you know, these things do happen.
We've got Earl here, ace-queen under the gun, raises to 4 times the big blind.
Oh, I know Minger's got ace-king. Let's hope he gets a bit more fortune with it this time.
It's a very optimistic limp with Jack-2 offsuit.
Yeah, he's been doing this a lot while you've been playing, James.
What on earth flop do you want to hit with that?
Well, he did it with king-4 before against aces, and he hit a king. And
but Jack-2, it's just, you know, goodness, it's just a hand's going to get into trouble. There's so few flops where you'll know where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Jack-2's
2-2 jacks about not bad, and 2-2-2, that's pretty good. But I mean, there's hardly any flops that are good for you.
No, nothing's good for you on that hand. I agree totally. Yeah.
Just going to get into trouble. I mean.
Yeah. Well, he wants to play every hand, doesn't he? I mean, the one thing he's sure to get, James, is a lot of experience, because he is playing every hand. So that's the one thing that he'll gain. But he's likely to lose a lot of money in the meantime, isn't he? So if you're thinking of conserving money, Uwe, this is not the way to do it. If you're looking for paying for experience, then you're certainly doing that.
And this is a difficult call with Queen Jack. Queen Jack to call with is not against someone who's raised 4 times a big blind is a difficult call. It's a situation where, you know, I'd prefer someone who was calling within something like 6-7 even, rather than the Queen Jack.
I was going to say, James, he's likely to make this move, this re-raise, and he has. The only thing with it was a little bit on the weak side, but he's now got betting rights, so let's see if he does come out firing.
He's got a middle pin straight draw as well, hasn't he? He's bet 10.
Yeah, it's a bit weak, wasn't it? That was the thing, 10 into 35.
And now I think he should
25.
pack it in. The guy's got 26. I don't think he's going to put it down at all.
No.
I think it would be incorrect to... well,
he's not going to fold
Fox,
for that, is he?
Is Fox going to be... say, I'll put you all in or not? Or is he just going to call him?
The right play, just to call him.
Just called him.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, with the amount of money he had left there. To me, I think it smelt that Paddy Power was now thinking he was losing, was trying to lose less at the end. I think maybe that was an exception there because of the amount of money he had left.
So a value bet there would have been good.
I think it was a value bet because why wouldn't the guy have set you in? It's because he's not that confident, probably.
Yeah, good point.
It was just a little clue there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. Thinking about it, I think you're spot on. Yeah.
Which is it's a rare situation, that, but to me, that's
rare.
a little clue there. Why on earth would you do
So, James,
that?
we've been talking about, I've been talking about it with Tom. Can you explain to the viewers that situation? Well, I think it's a very valuable lesson of how value betting in that situation is better than, and why you don't take into consideration the river principle there.
In that situation, because well, this was quite a rare situation because here Fox just had such an insignificant amount of chips left, so therefore he can actually look here to say, well, why on earth did Paddy Power now bet 15? He's been betting at me. If he really had a hand, he'd have just probably put me all in here now. I mean, because if I'm going to call for 15, I'd have called for 24 or whatever it was. Yeah, it's no difference.
So
therefore, he now has to say, well, why is he doing this? Maybe he hasn't got such a good hand. He's got something, obviously, but he hasn't got such a good hand. And now he's doing this as more or less a stopper bet because he can't bear to pass to me, but he wants to now try and keep the price down. So you've worked out what your opponent's doing. So now this gives you a clue what you should do yourself and say, well, forget that, pal. There's no harm. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's only for this much chips. But am I going to be right more than I'm wrong? Does it? Yes, it feels like I will. That's all which you need to know to make it the correct bet. So therefore, if you think, am I going to be right 6 times out of 10 here? Well, the bet's a bet. Put the extra $10 in. Because if you're right 6 times out of 10, 6 times you're going to win the 10, and 4 times you're going to lose the 10.
Extra $20 for you, isn't it?
Extra $20 is worth $2 a hand to you.
Yeah.
That's the way we have to think about it. And don't be frightened. You're not going to be right all the time. Some inexplicable reason the guy's got a better hand than you. Okay, but are you more likely to have the better hand? And all the evidence there said you are more likely to have the better hand. And this is the important bit. In poker, too many players want to sort of make their decisions that they're 100% right. It's not that sort of game.
I was just about to say that. That was a very good point by you. You've got to realise that it's a game where you can only bet percentages, and some of the percentage time you're going to be wrong. You have to accept that. But it doesn't mean that because you're wrong on 2 times out of 10 or 3 times out of 10 that you now adjust the play to counter for those 3 times. You can't. You can't counter for those 3 times out of 10, can you? You just have to accept that 7 times out of 10 I'll be right, 3 times out of 10 I'll be wrong, or whatever it happens to be. I'm prepared for that.
And a good analogy for this is, supposing, the guy sets you all in and you've only got $2 left and it's before the flop and you're getting 10-1 odds and you've got no money left.
Sorry, James, just to interrupt for a second. Just look at this hand here that's developing. We've got a set of 7s, or trip 7s for I'm Not a Minger against what was top pair. But he's probably could have got a bit more there. He was probably a bit scared. Flush, possibly.
Right, I'll start that again.
Yeah.
If you're all in, someone's bet puts you all in, you've only got $2 left, and it's before the flop, and you've got 3-2 offsuit, which is the worst heads-up hand. But you're getting 10-1. Yes, of course you're going to lose more times. Oh, I feel I'm going to lose. Well done. Yeah, we know you're favourite to lose, but we know you're going to, in the long run, be a lot better off by calling than you would be by passing, because you're getting 10-1 odds here for some inexplicable reason. Yeah,
and this is a very interesting point, because just sidetracking slightly away from poker...
That's just exaggerated, just to show, yes.
But just sidetracking away slightly from poker, this is a very important principle, actually, in blackjack as well, where you're holding 16 against the dealer ace, for argument's sake.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, this is a mathematical situation where you're going to lose more than 50% of the time. I'm not sure, I can't remember the exact percentages now, but you're going to lose more than 50% of the time. However, it's about losing the least, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's about losing only 30% of the time as opposed to 40% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, those aren't the exact figures, but yes.
Yes.
But here, you know, you've got to hit your 16 against the ace, and that's it. And
Yeah.
so, oh, well, you say more cards send me bust than not. I'd rather...
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, you say...
The other way sends you even more.
You're going to lose both ways. In the long run, you're going to lose. This is a losing hand. Unlucky, you've been dealt a rotten hand. 16 against an ace is one of the worst situations in blackjack. Unlucky. But you will lose less by playing it correctly.
Exactly right. But a lot of people can't counter that, can they? They can't get in their mind that I don't want, if I bet, I'm almost guaranteed to lose. But of course, if you don't bet, you're going to lose even more.
Yeah, and the other example, which is probably even better, because it's to do with the betting side of it, is, as I was given it before, but I'll give it again, is in backgammon with the doubling cube. And the situation is when people double you, unless they're absolutely a fish, they're going to be favourite when you double you. But now, you can either pass and give them 1 point or take the cube. Right, you are underdog in the situation. But in this situation, not counting gammon, so say, for example, it was a race, if you are less than 3-1 against, you're better off taking. Not because you're going to win, because you're going to lose less. Now, we get these situations in poker as well.
Just to explain for the viewers, James, when you're saying 3-1, you mean 75 to 25?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll give the example. Supposing let's take the position in a bear-off in backgammon where the favourite is exactly 3-1 on to win. Okay? So it means he wins 3 times and he loses 1. Now this is exactly a spin of the coin whether you take the cube or not. We'll look at it. So therefore, if the guy doubled 4 times and you passed every time, each time you'd give him a point. So over those 4 games, you would lose 4 points. Now we look at the other way. If he doubled and each time you took, 3 times you would lose 2 points, because you've taken the cube to 2, so you'd lose 6 points. But 1 time you'd win 2 points. So overall, you'd still lose 4 points. So therefore, that's being 3-1 against. So if you've got a 25% chance there, it's a spin of the coin whether you take or you pass. There's no correct decision. But what that means is, if you've got 26% chance of winning the game, you have to take the cube, because you will lose less in the long run.
So the 25 is a cut-off, isn't it?
Yes, that's the cut-off. Now, poker has these situations as well, and this is all to do with this balance. And where people find it difficult is when it's a correct take, it's a correct call in poker, but when we're getting the big odds, but our situation looks pretty horrible. Well, it will look horrible because you're underdog, but you're getting rewarded enough if you get out of it and hit it. And that is the whole balance. And this is something we've got to get our heads around. And too many poker players try to put things on the top of a nail head. Say, you've got ace-jack suited. Oh, you've got 10 queen. Hang on, we can't. When you do it, yes, you remember it, but you don't tell us the times when you guessed 100 times and got it wrong. So don't try. We've got to say he's on these sort of hands, this player. We've got to give a wider picture. We mustn't try to get everything dead right. We can't know everything in this game. I knew he was bluffing. No, you didn't. You thought he was bluffing. What you should say is, what percentage of the time will he be bluffing in this situation? And that is part of the equation which will help you to decide what to do. So let's get to think of this, of percentages of times things are going to happen. It's not bang on the nail. It's percentages of time things are going to happen. That's what we've got to get in our heads.
Excellent stuff. Okay, so some good advice there from James. Time to dip into our multi-table tournament. So let's head in there.
Back to the green.
So we're down to 16 now, James, and this is a very interesting part of the multi-table tourney, for the simple reason that there's only 10 prizes.
Yes.
So none of them have, but they've all been playing for a couple of hours now, I think. So none of them really want to go out at this stage. You don't like to play for a couple of hours and then go out just before the money, do you?
No, definitely not. It's but the thing is, of course, this is our chance to take advantage here, because certain people become over-worried about getting to that last 10. Well, in this tournament, if we look at that structure, I think you read out the prizes before, didn't you, Mark?
Yeah.
It is, of course, still quite top-heavy, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
pretty
so
much.
I think the top three have still got a good chunk of the money here, 375, 251,
Yeah,
50.
top two specifically, I think.
And top two specifically. So therefore, just sneaking into the final where you get $18.75 shouldn't be your priority. It'd be nice to get there, and we're aiming to get there, but if the situation occurs where we have a chance to accumulate chips and we sacrifice our chance of limping into 10th, it doesn't matter, because we increase our equity because we've now got more chance of getting to the higher levels of the prize money.
Look what we've got here, James. We've got Ace-Queen against Ace-Jack in the blinds.
Right.
So this will be interesting.
It will. And there.
Oh.
Well, I think Ace-Jack can put it down.
Well, look at that. Well, he's got an out for a king. No.
Well, I think he could have put it down.
He didn't think about it. He didn't even think about it, did he? He just straight in
Why
there.
does he have to guess? No keyhole surgery needed there. Why does he have to guess? Ace-Jack. You don't have to be a hero there. He still had. He still has a bit of time there.
You think he should have put it down?
How many he didn't have? Yes, he did. Yes, he had plenty of chips. He's just done a truckload of chips. He's just done 5. Yes, I'd have kept those chips to play with rather than guess with.
Do you think that maybe
I'd rather be
might have done
betting
it with worse?
I'd rather be betting the next time rather than guessing on the call. The guy will be doing it with big aces. The guy will be doing it with pairs.
Will he do it with weak aces?
We don't know what the player's going to be doing it with. But I'm just saying, if I have a grey area there, I had enough chips there to be probably winning. I had enough money there to be winning chips with that money.
Well, another interesting hand. And Voda is trying to milk this. He's got aces. And he's thinking the best way of playing it. Wow, that's... Oh, James, it's all gone in with sevens. And in fact, this is... I don't understand. He was just calling with the sevens, James.
Yeah, I know.
Because he went over the top, but there was no fold equity anyway, even if the guy did not have a hand. So all he was doing, in effect, was just calling.
Yes, you pointed that out very correctly before, Mark, and that's what people have got to think about. We've all seen, listen, check raises, yes, they're wonderful plays, but what you have to do, you've got to have muscle to be able to do it. There's no point being a check raiser if you're a 7-stone weakling.
Yeah.
It ain't going to work.
Yeah,
and then it goes into the territory where it said, basically, all you're doing, pal, is calling.
Yeah, I think he let probably a little bit of ego there with Balrog, and it's the thing, isn't it? I mean, we all suffer from it to some degree or another, where you just feel that a guy's picking on you, or he's raised you a few times.
Bang,
you think, I'll show him, I've got to make a stand. And it's getting that timing right, though, isn't it? Because, you know, even guys sometimes have hands, don't they?
Of course they do, yeah.
So a bit unlucky there, Balrog, but I think he should have given... I think probably the thing you'll probably most regret is that he instantly went all in. You know, I think you should have perhaps just given it a thought as to what you could be up against, and I think that'd probably be the most upsetting thing. But on we go, and Benny's now picked up another nice hand.
And he's just called it, and he's wanting to get action with this.
Well, he won't be too pleased seeing that ace on there, will he?
No, that's the last thing he wanted to see. The one thing which is sort of soothing him is the fact that he's got the king of clubs. So it's very unlikely, or less likely, that someone's got the flush draw. Because he's captured the king, the ace is already out there. Now, would they be playing with the smaller flush draws? Not as likely. Yes, they might be, but not as likely in his mind.
Disciplined fold there by Steamer. Had second pair, queens.
Yeah,
and,
that's good.
Yeah, because there was no raise by Benny, so there's nothing to suggest that he had an ace. Of course, we can see he had a lot more than that. Well, he didn't have more than that, in fact, but pre-flop he did. So, Hayes, I'm sure we'll just let this one go. King 10 suited for Steamer. What's he going to do here? I think a nice little bet here would probably be nice. He's got the chips to do it, and that's a good bet. Coco Pops can't call. Can raise, of course, but he can't call. And he decides he doesn't want to take a chance with Jack 2. I don't blame him. Right, so we're down to 14 now, James. So it's getting interesting, getting very close to that prize money.
It
Only
is.
14th, 13th, 12th, and 11th will get nothing at all. So could be interesting. Do or die for certain players.
Mark, confess. Tell me this: do you ever cast an eye at Big Brother
On TV?
Yeah.
Never.
Never.
Well, very, very rare. Very rare. If I'm flicking through channels, I might watch it for about 30 seconds.
Have you flicked through yet?
I caught it once a couple of days ago for about 15 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're not an expert then?
No, I'm not, no. No, I don't like it.
It's very unfair, you know. They've been picking on the. I think they've been picking on. They've got a Geordie commentator on there.
Okay.
And they're picking on him. It's not fair. I mean, he has to read out the numbers, you know, the telephone numbers, and it's always stuff like.
What telephone numbers?
Well, they give out telephone numbers to contact. And
Okay.
it's stuff. Here's the stuff. 08, 08, 06, 8, 7, 8, I mean, they pick all the numbers. It's not fair.
So you've been amusing yourself with that by the sounds of it, James. Now, what are you doing watching? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I just heard about it.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, I've had a glance.
Yeah.
There's a guy with Tourette's on it as well.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, you've heard.
I haven't seen him swearing, but I've heard on the news he was.
He does bird sounds and stuff.
Oh, does he? All right. This is the guy. Tourette's is the people that swear, isn't it?
Well, they can do. They don't always have to swear.
Oh, don't
but
they?
They can
All
just
right.
come out with outbursts.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Could be like hit the flop or something.
Yeah.
Rivet again. It could be anything. But often they can be swearing. I think maybe only about 15% of the time it's swearing or something. Someone said.
So.
Voda Benny, pair of fours, and he's done a flat raise there. He's got a lot of chips though, and I think flat raises when you've got a lot of chips is fine. I like it actually.
Yeah, you prefer that.
Well, if you've got the chips, it's great because you've got the implied strength behind you.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, oh, you want to fight, do you? And they see the muscle you've got.
Well, there's only one move here for Cocoa Pops in my view, and he's done it.
Yep.
Yeah, and he needs to get some chips here, and Voda can't call here really.
It's tough. He's looking at the amount of money in the pot and he's wondering what odds, but he doesn't like that. There's two overcards. And that, of course, is the problem with the small pair. There's so likely to be overcards out there.
Good play there by Cocoa Pops. He knows that he can only, he could have called in with a queen, of course. But really, the card he was saying, well, if you've got a king, then that's just bad luck. But I've still got outs against you. You're going to find it difficult to call with a queen.
And the ladies has whacked it in there.
Yeah. Okay, I think we've got time for one more hand, and we've got one or two
Mark,
emails to
I'm
get
interested
through.
there with that play with the queens there. Duke did not have so much money there. I actually feel that with the queens in that position, I probably feel I have to get into a contest.
Yes, definitely.
So
Yeah.
I could have tried something a bit trickier, I think, in that situation.
Yeah, you need to find opportunities, James, don't you? You need, in these situations, you need to find the opportunities where you can accumulate chips for certain, for rewards.
Your decision's got to be in relation to your chip stack.
Yeah.
You mightn't like to say, I've got to take a risk with this because, look, I have to get
Well, that's
some
the thing,
chips.
isn't it? There is going to be a time we need to take a risk, and Queens is not a bad hand to do it with.
Well, it's the third best pre-flop hand, so it's a pretty good one to take a risk with.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, we've got some one or two emails to get through, and this is from, well, we've got everyone here emailing us, all in one go. Andy, Angie, Anna and Brian. It sounds like sort of like children from like Mary, Mungo and Mitch, isn't it? Andy, Angie, Anna and Brian. Hello, Andy, Angie, Anna and Brian. I was only kidding. We've still recently started playing for real money. We've just recently, rather, after watching your show and learning on Play Money. Okay? Still finding our feet, but it's really enjoying it. Okay, that's good stuff. Always good to enjoy what you do. Just wondering if you have any advice for starters playing with cash. I'll give you my bit and then we'll ask James. For me, it's about starting at amounts you can afford. So start off very low. If you've been playing for Play Money, don't go anything beyond, and this might even be too high, but don't go anything beyond 5 cent, 10 cent. I think that's a nice size to start off. I think 1 cent, 2 cent can be a bit laborious, but certainly 5 cent, 10 cent, you can put $10 into your account and let's face it, £6 to have a little bit of fun. You spend that more, spend more than that at the pub. So I think 5 cent, 10 cent game is probably a good starting level. It creates a little bit of bite, but not too much, and that's really what you need. The last thing you want to do is think, well, this is only pennies we're talking about, so I'm going to raise him 2 pence when it means so little. Poker is a game where it's got to mean something for you to play properly, and I think that's a sort of good level. Play very small. Up to you what you decide to go with. If you want to play cash, I think that's a good level to start with. If you want to play tournaments, then keep it low. Certainly, there's no reason why you should go beyond the $5 sit and go or something like that. What do you think, James?
Yes, I agree. It's a very good principle there. I mean, I'd say $5 sit and goes is probably that would be probably quite okay. Keep your eye out for these special offers on multi-table tournaments. There's often some free rolls, play those. maybe I might just be a bit more adventurous in the cash. Maybe 10, 20 cents. It's not too bad, but maybe you could even start off at limit to start with if you're just not too sure, so you don't have to make too many judgments, but are getting used to seeing the hands.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So some advice there from me and James, and keep those emails rolling in because we always like to hear from you. You know the text number, you know the email address, so don't forget. In the meantime, me and James are going to take a break, so we'll be right back after this. Good evening and welcome back to Poker Night Live with myself, Mark Prince Charles Banin, and the legendary, the one and only James Browning. Do you like that? I'll keep calling you legendary.
Mark, you've been very, very pleasant to me, yes.
Yeah, well, I've got to make up for it for last time. So. We've got a couple of emails to get through, and I'll give you a reminder of how you can get in contact with the show. But in the meantime, this is an email from Robin Joanne, who's... haven't seen much of recently, but they used to come on the show quite often a long, long time ago, but they're back. Well, she's back. My friend had Jack 9 of hearts and was on the big blind for 6,000 chips and had a stack of 75,000, okay? He had one late position limper who had a stack of 110,000. Biggest stack at the table was 225 and the other table was 400. Got this down,
yeah.
James? Okay. Flop was ace of hearts, 9 of diamonds, 2 of hearts. Okay. Giving my friend second pair with a flush draw. Okay. Now, his opponent had raised with every ace he had shown down in the last 4 hours, so he didn't think he would have an ace. Therefore, he moved all in. He was called instantly and was gutted when his opponent turned over ace 9. How would you have played it? I'll just give you a quick one on what I do. I found when... I don't mind the move if there isn't an ace on the board. That's the only caveat I have to doing what you've done. I don't like making the move with the ace on the board against another player for the simple reason that it's unlikely I'll get rid of them. And that's one, you know, if I can't get rid of them, I've lost some of my fold equity. So that's the thing. Part of doing with that hand is the fact that, yeah, you've got a big hand, you've got a pair with a flush draws, which is very nice. However, I also like some fold equity, so I'd only make that move when I've got that. If I haven't, then I won't. So the only difference I would do, probably call. I'm not sure, yeah, I'd probably just be check calling to hit my flush and then I'll make the move. I'm looking to hit the flush because I don't think I'll get rid of them with the ace. What about you, James?
One question, did you say what the actual blinds were there? I missed that, did I?
6,000, so I presume it's 3-6.
Oh, on the big blind was 6,000, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you got 75,000 chips, am I right with that
correct.
bit?
Correct,
so you still got quite a bit of play. Yes, I'm just having a look at this. 1, 2... Okay, it's awkward. I know it's generally, if you've got a pair and a flush draw, it's a pretty strong hand, but you haven't really attempted to find out where you are in this hand at all. I think you've still got quite a bit of play here. I like Mark's comment about he doesn't like this with the ace on board so much. I suppose where you've been tricked is they limped in with the ace, but I like Mark's comment on that, which could well mean that your one pair is already trailing.
Yeah, a lot of people won't give up aces, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
They won't give up aces.
I don't think I would have just committed so much there. I think I might have played it Mark's way to see if what the other person does. Also, if I was wanting to put it all in, I would have actually wanted to put it all in with a check raise rather than with just an all-in.
Yeah.
Because a check raise would have looked stronger anyway.
Yeah.
Forget what this person had this time, because again, that's what we were talking about before. This is over the long run, the sort of hands they might have. Yeah. So that would have been my thought there. I would have actually been looking for a check raise, possibly, or just let's see what happens anyway. So I've got two options there. So if I was going to put it all in, I wouldn't just push it in there. I'd put it in with the check raise, which is a bigger punch. What
are the odds there, James? Forgetting that the other person had two pair ace-9, what are the odds if they had something like ace-10 against a pair and a flush draw? Is it about 50-50?
Okay, yeah, it will be, because they've got 9 outs for the flush, and then have got in this case, would have had another 2 outs. Sorry, beg your pardon, would have had a... Jack 9 of hearts. Yes, would have had another 2 outs for the 9, and would have had another 3 outs for the Jack.
So spot on 50-50 practically.
Yes,
yeah, pretty close. Okay, so there you go. Hopefully that helped Robin Joanne. We've got another email. Do we have time for that? Let's have a look. Yes, we have indeed. This is in the email. Thanks very much for that, Robin Joan. We've got another email from, this one's from Supergran. No Supergran?
Yes, was in the sit and go with Supergran.
Just emailing to ask why I never do well with 7-8 offsuit. I agree with James now on the 7-8 ruling, or maybe I just got unlucky in the last BTP. What would be the best play? Is he talking about a specific 7-8 that she played?
I think she must be.
Yeah, all right, let's have a look at... I'll tell you what, we'll answer that after the Beat the Presenter. So let's head straight down there, Supergran, and see how you played your 7-0, and I'll give you my expert opinion on the hand. And there it is, first hand of the night. Everyone's on 2,000. So it should be interesting. James is on the button with his 6-8 suited. And Mr. Perfect limping in with his 5s there. And Supergran, 9-10, have a little limp as well. And what's Jamesy going to do here with his 6-8 suited?
Actually, it was just on the crossover there, because I just got into the tournament and we just were in the last bits of transmission there. I could have had a look at it, but one reason or another I just left it.
Yeah. Well, Spit is liking this, and not a terrible board for Mr. Perfect. He probably thinks his 5s could be winning here, but he's put out a little widgy bet there just to say, does either of you have anything here? And you can say, OK, well, I'm out of it.
Wow, and the flush draws decided to get in there. 9-4, that's optimistic.
Yeah, especially with a paired board, isn't it, James? That's the thing.
It is, so it's a game of just not knowing where you are.
Isn't that interesting, though? 9-4 of clubs again. We were talking about that, weren't we?
That's right.
And I actually hit mine on the turn, though, so there you go.
And
that's hit it, and it's good because there's no house on the board there. So,
but
3
how
aces.
scary is that? Because someone with an ace, okay, they are on the blind, so that it's not as likely. But yeah, if the person was in any other position, it would be far more scary because then they'd be more likely to be there with ace-10, ace-jack, etc.
Can Spit fold
but
this?
Spit was on the blind, so he's not so likely to have any kicker.
No. Can Spit fold this?
It's difficult. I think he's just about priced him into it. So I think to give John credit there, he put in a good value bet.
Yeah. Okay.
So a good value bet in the end. I'm not quite sure about how wise it was with that play with 9-4. You just don't know where you are. Someone else could be in there with a flush draw and you're cooked anyway. You could be virtually drawing dead, or someone could have the trips, or could already have the house. I mean, really was it very
chancy, definitely.
Very dodgy territory.
Oh, look what we've got here, James. We've got 3 potential hands here. Kings, ace, jack, and
I'll
ace
decide
9.
not to raise with it. I think I'll just limp in here and just see what happens. And interesting enough, Spit has just limped in with the ace-jack.
Wow, that is interesting. So perhaps if you'd raised, you would have got a call off him, wouldn't you?
Maybe,
Yeah.
but ace-jack, of course, not a great calling hand, so maybe not. Early stages, they tend to give me a lot of respect with raises, so I thought, well, I'll just limp in and see what happens. Mr. Perfect here. Actually, I'm hoping he's going to pass, because I don't want to be against 3 people, but I don't mind...
You're hoping that he raises, really?
Oh, yes, OK. Yeah. Or pass, and then I don't mind being against 2 people. Well, it's a good flop for kings, but I'm not going to muck around anymore. I don't want to give anyone a free card to hit 2 pair. Yeah. Someone could be sitting there with a 6 and hit the... or whatever, so I don't want to do that. So I'm going to bet.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got no one with anything, so...
I bet 60 into a pot of 70.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. And no one can call. See? And James, they all believe you. Yeah. Now, if I make that bet, they all call me.
Anyway, I tried my best there to... are you happy enough with the slow play with the kings there?
Yeah, I think... I don't
Early
mind.
Stage?
I don't really mind actually just boosting up the pot a little. In late position, it can look like a little still.
Just I think historically they've been just passing to raises early on, so I thought, well, I'll play a big hand a bit differently.
Yeah, it's a bit different for me than for you, James, I think, because they give you more respect than they do me, in as much that they see you as a tighter player, so you have to sort of play it that way.
But varied anyway,
they see me more of a looser player.
I'm not going to play them the same. I'm going to vary how I play my hands anyway. So.
Oh, that's interesting. Ace Jack under the gun. So you limp in with it here?
I limped in because I got away with a limp with the king, so I thought, well, I'll see if I can get away with a limp with ace-jack. At least then, it's balancing out the equation a little bit. So I don't mind seeing a flop with that and see where I am. I've been raised.
Raised by the 8s, and your ace-jack's not looking too good. There's a couple of jacks already missing.
And I don't want to play a guessing game anyway. It's early stages.
Yeah, and you haven't got position either.
I don't need to play a guessing game. If I call that, I start to get committed. It'll be another 100, and then...
You're drawing a bit thin, aren't you, with two of the jacks already gone?
And it's too early for me to be fighting with that one.
Okay, so not much action so far. James had a couple of sort of half hands, although the kings was very nice, but they're only good when you get paid, and unfortunately James come across no one with any kind of hand, apart from the ace-jack, which just missed completely. So still looking for Super Grand 7-8 offsuit.
And we've got two hands there. We've got Super Grand with a pair of fours and Poker Malk with ace-king. Mr. Perfect, I can't remember, did he limp in here or not? No, he didn't. Fishing for chips. Well, King-Jack's quite good in the big blind. He's made it 60.
Yeah, that's fair enough, isn't it, I think?
Nothing wrong with that. And it's been a flat re-raise with the fours. Very interesting. Now, what's the ace-king do here? Just calls.
What do you think? Re-raise again?
Well, I don't mind as long as he's prepared to get away from it if he misses.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't put any more chips in with it, that's fair enough. He's just taken a thought. He's still got 1900 left.
Yeah. The only
now,
thing I'd
this
say
I don't like.
You see, the only thing by raising...
this I don't like. If he's prepared to call with nothing with it, then I don't like the play. Then he's misplayed it. Better for him to try to win it with the raise. Because he's now misplayed the hand.
Yeah. He's also got the lead in the betting by doing that, which gives him another advantage. Yeah. So he hasn't got that now.
But the main thing is, if you're going to make a misplay, and he has made a misplay, the only way to play it, if he just calls it, he has to get away from it if he misses. And he's given him extra money for no reason. Now he's been given a chance if he wants to try and steal this, but he doesn't do that either. So therefore, we didn't see good playing of that hand afterwards, did we?
No, he was trying to hit a 3.5 to 1 shot, wasn't he, basically, by having the two overcards. And of course, the problem when you're doing that is that it might not be a 3.5 to 1 shot, because if the other guy's got an ace with the current top kicker, then you're drawing even thinner.
Of course, you might only have 3 outs, not 6.
Yeah.
He might already have trips, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So it's not, again, you can't just say, oh, I've got 6 outs. You haven't got 6 outs.
Not necessarily. It could be a lot worse. That's at best you've got 6 outs.
In fact, you can't put it on 6 outs. You've got to reduce it slightly.
Yeah,
because
to counter
there's a
for the times when
percentage
you
time that they're going to have the others. So it's definitely not 6 outs. It's definitely less. In reality, it might be 6, but we don't know the reality in poker, and that is the point.
Yeah, good point there from James. So Super Grand, he's got second pair. It's been folded, checked round to him so far, or her. So, and I like the bet of 80 into a 90 pot. I think he's only got one person to beat. The others have shown weakness.
And I think that's a good use of position there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that bet as well. Oh, I've got a hand.
What, 7-8? Oh, no, it's the jacks. Okay.
Yeah, I've forgotten about that.
You're up against the jack 7-8 though, James.
Now, I've got a raise there.
Well, this
I'm
is
now
interesting.
contemplating coming over the top. And now there's another customer. Now the jacks doesn't feel so good to me.
You don't fancy a squeeze play there?
I don't know.
Your buddy would have always talks about it a lot, doesn't he?
Yes, I don't like the under the gun raise, and now another one. Just now the jacks doesn't feel so good. I actually said, okay, I'm prepared to play as a drawing hand.
Right.
I just decided I'll prepare. At early stages, still I'll play as a drawing hand. I don't feel I'm going to clear the field now. I just think it's harder to clear the field.
Well,
I wouldn't have liked this flop anyway.
Yeah.
An overcard, a flush draw. Pet Tomes bet it strong. He's done it well.
120 into a 350 pot, so he's bet about a third of the pot. And what's James going to do here? And he's felt him for the king, so he's given it up.
Bad flop for me. High card and a flush draw. It could be that the guy, if he hasn't got a hand, has got something like he's got. A hand which I considered he might have. He could actually have an ace with a flush draw, where he's got a pretty good hand anyway, and I won't quite know where I am. But he might have the king with the flush draw. So it's not a pretty... I don't want to guess anyway. I'd rather wait to know where I was. Still very early days. I don't have to win this. You can't win the tournament when there's no one been knocked out. That's for sure.
Well, Yeah.
And even if we
Jack
see
nine.
the hands there, it's not easy. It's not I'm not a big favourite there. Pair of jacks against flush draw and an ace. It's
Yeah, no,
it's a
you're not a
pretty
big
close
favourite.
contest.
Yeah, 60-40, something like that? 65? 65, 35?
Just have a look.
Yeah. Yeah, it will be interesting to see, actually. So while James is having a look there, I'll give you some commentary. James has raised with the Jack 9. Is he going to put in our continuation bet? Let's have a look. John the Brick. I think James should do it, unless the bet is particularly high. Well, bet at 140, which is a difficult hand to come over the top. Normally when someone does that, I do like to come over the top myself for the simple reason that I've got the lead in the betting. Why is this guy suddenly betting? Now, he could be betting because he has got a 10 and he's scared of the flush draw and a possible straight draw. So that would be an acceptable reason. But in a lot of cases, and I think James done the right thing, I think in a lot of cases it's a case of if the board isn't as scary as that, then I'm likely to go over the top there. But I think the guy with a 10 would probably make that move, so that's fair enough. And
there is a flush draw there as well, and it's I've got a middle pin straight and even.
I think you had ace 6, did he, or something? And there was the board was king. I don't know, it was something like king 4-3 or something.
Yes, king. Yeah, I'd only be 55%. And that's with owning a diamond.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough...
Did you have a diamond?
I did.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, just so people get it in their heads, which is quite fun, without the diamond in my hand, I'm only 52%.
Yeah, so marginal.
So very marginal. So that was in my mind. So why do I have to guess in a marginal situation?
Yeah.
And he might have the king anyway, where now I'm a big underdog.
Yeah.
Because if he had, I'll just put that differently. So that's interesting. I think this actually helps with the way I want people to start thinking about the game.
So ace 10 bets it, Mr. Browning with the top pair. Betting it out, makes it 100 to play. And doesn't look like anyone can call him here, because once again, James is a bit unfortunate that no one's got anything. They haven't got like a weaker ace or something along those lines, or second pair. So they've all missed.
Right, this is the follow-up of that story, and this is what I want people to think about, because we've got to think about the possibilities. If in that hand, with my pair of jacks, when the flop was king 4, 3, 2 diamonds, if the guy had no diamonds, but he had king jack, all of a sudden, I'm 8 point...
Sorry, go on, James.
All of a sudden, I'm only 8.8% to win that hand.
Wow.
Now that is what we've got to put in the balance.
Could you actually just make a change? Actually, just remembering, could you make it ace 6 of diamonds and the flop being king 9-4? In fact, I think it was. Because
that's not going to make much difference. But this
because there was a potential straight on there. That's why there's still.
Okay, but it's still. It doesn't matter. This is the main part of the story. Is if it was like a pair of jacks, he's just got a king jack.
Just one sec, James. Look at this. We've got 2 pair against a made straight. It's be interesting to see what happens here. Is Super Grand going to do a whole load of chips, or is he going to hit a 10-to-1 shot now to make that house? That's what it is. 2 pair to turn into a house. About 10-to-1, give or take. And nope. Does make the straight a little weaker though, but he's still got it. Which means a 1 card, just a king out there. So less likely for us. Well, he probably call. I think he's priced him in nicely there. So I think Super Grand will probably call this with 2 pair. Small enough to call, which I think it's going to be hard to get away from. But let's have a look.
Getting over 4-to-1 is money.
Yeah, thinking long and hard. Well, at least I can say that Super Grand, well, folded, good fold.
Yes. I think the thing there is only 1 card needed to make a straight, and that's what makes it easier to pass.
Yeah, good fold.
Because just a king needed. Yeah, so my point there is, in this situation, if the jacks is against, say... I gave it... I did make it worse there by mistake. I actually gave it a king jack, of course. I'll give it a king queen offsuit, and we'll just check that one. Okay, that does go over a bit because I killed my jack by mistake. Okay, even if I give myself my jack, if I give him king queen with the flop of a high king, my pair of jacks is only 13% to win. What a nightmare. So therefore we're looking at a situation where if he's got the flush draw and an ace, I'm 55%. If he's got king queen and I've got my jacks are alive, I'm 13%. We know if he's got it, go down to 8%. Now we balance the whole thing out. You can see that it's a nasty situation.
Just do me one favour, though. Make it.
Can you see what I'm saying,
yeah.
Mark? So therefore, that's what we've got to think of the whole balance of the thing. What did you want to put in?
Put in that a6 of diamonds again, and just change that 3 to a 9. 9 of diamonds. Just have a look at what that brings out. Just curious how much it affects the fact that there's more of a straight opportunity with that backdoor stuff.
57.
It goes up by a couple of percent.
Yeah,
so
not much difference.
No.
So that's basically the package. You say we're 57.
What do you think here, James? Supergram just folded a pair of 4s to a raise there. So she's folding quite a lot, isn't she?
Well, I think, you don't want to be calling raise with a pair of 4s, I don't think, too much. Not in this situation, not in... It's again, you're on either wrong side. You're horribly big underdog if you're against a pair, and you're going to be two overcards, and it's horrible to play heads up.
Unless you hit a set, of course.
Unless you hit a set, and well, in this situation, 7.5 to hit a set.
Yeah.
7.5 to 1 to hit a set, and it's tough.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be facing overcards.
Well, this is interesting. What James are you going to do here?
Yeah,
he's
done a good.
and he's made a little steal off you there.
Okay, which I don't mind actually, because.
Any reason why he didn't raise with ace-4?
Because blinds are so small. I don't want to be doing risks with ace-4, which is again, I'm out of position. If he decides to call it, now he's putting the pressure on me to continue, where I perhaps don't want to continue. It's unlikely. So again, I've still got a lot of chips left. I've still got a lot of play left. Later on, I might be very aggressive with that hand. I don't need to be when the blinds are 20-40. We've got a lot of chips. I've got loads of play still. Why not give myself that time to find maybe a good hand or find somewhere where I really know where I am?
Yeah.
I'm keyhole surgery if I have to play ace-4 after this. It's now a sweaty battle where you're relieved if you get the guy to put his chips down. I don't think I need it at this moment. Why I don't mind it is because I've limped and he's made me pass for the sake of 20. Lovely, because later in the game, maybe I can limp and come back over the top of him. So I don't think it's wasted money anyway. I don't mind it. Or maybe next time I limp, he might think, you're wanting me to catch you, and now I can limp for free.
Ah, well, we've got an interesting hand developing here. So interesting strategy there from James. See how that pans out in the hands to come. Pair of 9s, though, against John the Brick, who's no doubt going to do something. What's he going to do, though? Don't think he's going to be flat calling. I think he wants to get some value in pre-flop. And he does. That's a lot of value in pre-flop. I think he could have got away with about 160 there. Would have been my preference in betting. 180, 160, 150, something in that area. But he's really hit it hard. And Fishing for Chips has got a good enough hand that he wants to call with. So, problem here, he's got one overcard. Not a bad hand, not a bad flop for a pair of 9s. Only one overcard, and probably the best of the overcards there. A jack or a 10 would have been nicer.
Wow. And the pair of 9s is really taking the bull by the horns here.
Yeah, I don't think it's a check-raising opportunity. I think it's...
he's committed, and there's an overcard up there. Do you think he had to lose all his chips in this pot?
No, I think he could have put out a fill bet, see whether the guy had got a jack or...
You know why I'm against it? I just think if you lose all your chips in the early stages of a sit and go with a pair of 9s, it just doesn't seem right to me. It's not that big a hand.
Yeah, and of course
especially when there's an overcard on the pair and somebody who doesn't seem to be mind the pot at all. I just think it's later in a tournament, no problem. But in the early stage when the blinds are small, I think you've got enough time to find where you are, and I don't think he used that time. I think he played it overplayed it.
Well, not much here. Spit's got an inside straight draw, and he probably wants to bet it because he's not going to hit it very often. So he tends to
Mr.
want to hit it
Perfect
on the
there's
next
got
card.
the real hand. But there's two overcards there, which he can't be that keen on. But depending on what his opponents do. Because if they check, he's put a little diddly bet in. 80 into 300 is a very small bet.
I would have liked it a bit more personally, but it's worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there we are. The 2 overcards. Mr. Perfect didn't like it, so a well-picked bet there.
Yeah, I'm liking this guy Spit. He's been quite creative. Let's hope he doesn't go over-creative. Sometimes when you do get away with these plays, you can get a little bit overconfident. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't like this play of ace-9, though, to be honest. This is not one of my favourite plays.
At least he's raised it. He's done a small raise.
I'm glad that he's raised and not called. But
so he's actually, it's not too bad. He's ended up, in fact, he's ended up getting the money.
Yeah.
He's ended up heads up in position was the one thing, which was somehow it worked. So yeah, I've been talking recently, actually, and mentioning about the flat raise, and I've actually been experimenting quite a bit with smaller raises.
Okay.
And basically because looking at the great record of Alan Goering, whose most regular raise is just two times the raise, the flat raise, or 2.5 times the big blind. So therefore, in money games even, short-handed, I've been playing 5-seaters where my only raise has been the flat raise. But I've been raising regularly as well.
Okay.
With big hands, all hands, different hands.
And this is in tournaments?
No, in money games I've been trying it. And also in money games I've been trying 2.5 times.
All right. And how's that been working out?
It's been good because I've actually... they start to accept it as my raise. And once they accept it as my raise, it gives me more license to... Oh, here's something here.
Yeah, you've...
I represent that the ace is good for me.
So you've checked the flop by the looks of it, have you? Yeah. And bet the ace. Okay. That's that hand there from James. But
yes, I was looking for a... I think that was the one where I looked for a check raise. I missed the start of it. But I represented that the ace was good for me. Because I had actually... that's where I'd got in to the flop for cheap this time. Probably because of the time before. So, ace-queen calling the bet by Super Grand with the 8s, and that's a nice flop for a pair of 8s. And what's Super Grand going to do? 360 in the pot. What's Super Grand going to make it? And I like the bet there. I think pot size bet is good. Yes, it's a proper
He's
bet.
A vulnerable
it's difficult for Spit there.
Yeah, vulnerable hand, and plus he wants to put some strength behind it, and he's done that. He's won what's in there, and that's I think that's the right play. So well done so far for Super Grand. Still can't see this 7-8 you're talking about, but we shall see. It no doubt will come up at some point.
Super Grand there. Ace Jack just decides to call.
Yeah.
Blind's now 40-80, of course.
Yeah, don't like the call with Ace Jack really. You got 2 players out of it already, and there's only, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 behind you.
It's ended up all right, though, as it happens, because he's got position.
Yeah, it's worked out okay, but I think you want to try and manufacture that rather than just pray that it hopes to work out okay.
Yeah. Well, he's using position, and
good
play afterwards.
Yeah, that was a good play. Well done, Super Grand. So one poor play by a, well, not poor, totally poor, but a weaker play by a strong play. Well done.
King Jack passes, and Poker Malk.
Interesting, James.
Yes,
Poker Malk against Jack.
Well, I was looking at King 10 in latest position there, thinking it'd been a bit quiet, but before I could do anything, of course, Poker Malk
got in there. Yeah.
And there's no way do I want to play now.
Well, Pet's home folds the 10s. Too tight, James?
I think he...
For 240 more?
Well, I don't mind. I mean, he's in a great play as it happens, hasn't he? I mean, he wants to be... If his principle is he wants to be the better rather than the caller, this isn't a bad principle to have.
Especially with 10s. It's a horrible little hand, isn't it?
It can be awful. He's going to be out of position.
And there are some opportunities where it will just come less than 10 high, which
we had
puts
that
him all sorts
10s
of
before.
trouble.
It's awkward because it doesn't play very well, because you're likely to see a jack, a queen, a king, or an ace in the flop. There's 4 cards you hate. So it's an awkward hand to play. And calling raises, you've got to wonder what happens next. And you just don't quite know where you are unless you click a 10.
Yeah.
So basically, it's...
Well, I remember in the World Series, I was playing in the sit and goes there, and that hand, 10s, knocked me out twice.
Well,
so there you are.
It is an awkward hand. Here we have...
He won't be throwing this one away, though, will he, James?
No. And how much better that he uses his money on this pot?
And with the minimum raise, Poker Malk probably, I was going to say, wants to take a look with Jack 10, but wow, that is tight.
Yep. But this is... This is a very tight game at the moment.
Let's just have a quick look at some pre-flop folds. We'll just keep that James's thing there in the window, just in case anything happens on the hand, but it's unlikely with 7 deuce, I think. So James is pretty much up there. That makes a change, James. When I was playing last time, I was at the bottom where Spit is, and you're at the top. So James is.
I called the raise here.
Oh, he's
He
tried it
raised
with
me,
7-2.
and I called with Jack Queen. He's now bet, and I pass. So
Right.
I had to call the raise there. He gave me value there. It was a good. I had position on him, and he made a flat raise, and I'm definitely calling for that because Jack Queen suited. I've got a good chance to know where I am, and I've got position. So there's no way am I putting that down. So I don't regret that call, but of course I correctly passed it and didn't fall in love with the hand afterwards.
No.
And again, that's very important, not to fall in love with the hand or be stubborn about it.
Yeah.
And as it happens, he'd connected with his funny cards.
Yeah. Well, James has saved some of those chips for hopefully put them to good use a bit later.
We still haven't seen Super Grand 7-8. Pets Home 4-3.
4 through of spades. I like the hand, but not in that position. So it's a fold for me. Super Grand, this is a bit more interesting. I'll probably come out of a little raise here myself, and I'll probably make it around 200, just in case I pick up someone with a hand. So I can fold if they... So, but that's okay.
What I've noticed in this game now is, and it's something I don't like for me, is that the guy who's going to be on who's going to have the big blind when I'm on the button is chip leader. And that's bad.
Yeah.
Because this gives me less of a license to steal, because he might just be that bit braver.
So if you're going to steal, you're going to perhaps steal from Mr. Perfect instead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't like the fact he's got too many chips. So that's my problem. So
yeah.
I've already been aware of that, and I thought, oh, that's a bit of a blow, really.
Yeah.
Also, I've got these guys who are raising ahead of me all the time.
Yeah,
which
it's difficult, isn't it? Poker Malk doing it.
So he's raising quite a lot.
I remember in the Poker Bowl that we played in, Tom was complaining about me doing that very same thing because he had me on his right.
You were preempting him, yeah.
Yeah. So that made it a bit awkward for him. So...
Again, I'm not picking up too much here, so... This is
Spitz will probably put a little bet here. We've seen that we've made it 160 and put in the minimum, which we've seen Pet's home fold hands. Now let's see what he does with ace 10. Will he be folding this too?
That's interesting, Mark, but I can't remember what he
folded
did.
the tens before, remember, against the jacks.
Well, it's 80. He's getting over 3-1. He's called that, and I think it's a correct call.
Now, will he take the lead in the betting? He does, yeah. It's a shame. Spitz is He's an aggressive player. Would have certainly seen a bet from him. So he could have got a bit more out of him, couldn't he? He had the lead in the betting.
But I like it. I like the bet. I'll tell you why. He's got a 10. He's connected with the 10. He isn't going to like a jack, a queen, a king.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 cards he doesn't like. Take it down. I don't mind.
Yeah. I just think the Spit is likely, a good chance that he's going to come out betting.
I think you're right. I think there's a chance he would do, but there's also, he doesn't know what Spit's got. Spitz could have a jack, queen, king. If you give them a free card to hit that, that can't be right. So it's wherever there's something, wherever there's too many free cards which are dangerous to you, that's a problem.
Yeah.
If perhaps you'd hit the king, and the only free card is an ace, I don't mind check here, say good luck. Maybe you'll have a crack at me now because you think I'm weak. That way I don't mind it, but that one I definitely bet it. I don't want to give him.
I don't. There's a difference of opinion now.
But I don't want to give him the free card.
Most of the time, I would agree.
It's a poker sin to give him a free card, is what I feel.
I just can't see that Spit would give him a free card in that situation.
Queen king.
Unraised pot, but we're going to do here, Jamesy.
Well, I feel I'm going to put it down.
So even though it's a button raise.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you do.
And as it happens, I'm
James
against an ace.
sticking true to his little saying.
But we'll have a look, because I think Queen King does come up again later, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Super Gran.
And just to clarify what James was saying about the hand earlier that we were talking about, with the ace 10 and against the ace 8, is that the only difference from what I'm saying is that I agree with James to the point that I would also bet it. The only time I wouldn't do that is if I feel confidently, and when I say confidently, I would say in the region of 80% or more, I feel that Spit is likely, or whoever it happens to be, is likely to come out betting. Then I think, okay, I might as well get a bit more out of this hand. So that's the only sort of difference to that, really. It's just a case of, if you feel the guy's going to bet it, then why not get a little bit more money out of him? If you feel there's a good chance that he's going to check it down as well, then obviously you want to come out betting.
Yeah.
So you've got to make that assessment.
Yeah, my problem is there, if you felt it wrong and he doesn't try it, then the next card's a jack, a queen or a king. All of a sudden you don't like the situation anymore. Now you might be opening up the door where he can come over the top of you. Oh,
what's
all in with king, queen.
What's happened to the unraised pot, James?
Well,
You're
it was
raising
unraised until it got round to me. And also, I had clicked down to 15-20. I've not been getting any cards, really, particularly. And I thought, a better with this.
And you wanted to commit yourself. You felt if you're going to put in 500-600, then you might
I
as
don't
well
want
put
to
in
be
the
worried
rest.
about the ace, and I think that time I'll just pop away there.
Yeah.
And it's still got a chance to be over cards against pairs if I have walked into jacks or below.
Yeah, you only don't want to see ace king or ace queen, basically.
But I thought I needed to get that little. I needed to just boost up there, and it's got me up to 1760, and I think it's given me a little bit of time to.
Yeah, and it's off Mr. Perfect that you nicked it, just what we mentioned a moment ago.
Yes, that's right. And that was already in my mind, and that well spotted, and that is actually the why. I thought and it's coincided. Avoiding the chip leader, and that's also what forced me to do it there as well. That's what swung it for me, because the position was right.
Yeah.
So I was playing the position. I was playing as much as the cards. I felt that was a position I'd already premeditated was going to be better for me.
Okay.
So, and I think that sort of thinking is good to have in tournaments.
You have to. You have
to
have
like
it.
that, Mark?
Absolutely, you've got to have that. If you don't have that, then well, the Kings must be feeling pretty confident that he's got the best hand here, so he can just doesn't need to do anything.
Two pairs there, Mark's talking about, aces and jacks with a king as the kicker. Well, I've got ace-5 here.
Difficult though, you're
I'm
way
a
out
bit
of
too
position,
early,
aren't you? Yeah,
and I think
this is a fold for me.
I think I'm looking because I'm running out of time a little bit, but I think, no, I'll put it down. I've still got a little bit of time.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of time.
And as soon as I see that, I'm delighted. I know that my hand's probably in trouble.
Well, Mr. Perfect, what's he going to do now? He's had...
Now, he's really run out of time, and I don't blame him, actually. His time is getting short. He's only got 960.
He's unlikely to pick up a better hand than that.
No. He's got a chance here.
Yeah, as long as he avoids a jack, king,
or
ace.
A king,
He
and
does.
he's done it.
So, doubles up, and Spit is...
And I think it's because he had that many chips it was right. I think if he had more chips, he could have put it down.
Did Spit do anything wrong?
No.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate, really. You need to win those 50-50s. I was watching Johnny Chan
he
last
might as
night.
well have put it all in, but I mean...
Oh, look at this, James. We've got aces against... little does he know how good position he's in, because Poker Malk will think he's got the best hand.
Yeah, Poker Malk has whacked it all in, and Super Grand's got the aces.
7-8.
Oh, no queen, but no, there's no queen there, and...
it's all in,
Poker Malk
and
is gone.
Super Grand wipes him out. He's been aggressive, Poker Malk, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's been very aggressive. And that kind of style works all but once, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm thinking this is quite nice. I've got King Jack against Spit, who's got the 100.
And interestingly enough, Super Grand, because he's just won that pot, is likely, without a big hand, to fold here.
So I'm thinking, oh, good, he'll just let me fight this out, maybe.
But when someone who's just won a pot...
And now he's raised, and I say, OK, I'd rather just let him fight Spit and hopefully knock him out. I don't want to get involved with this again. I feel I'm on the wrong side. As it happens, I hit my jack.
Oh, just
There's
as well.
a flush draw and a straight for him.
Yeah, he's hit that straight and the flush.
And there we go.
Trip jacks you would have hit.
Trip jacks, but it'd be no good. I'd done all my chips.
Yeah.
So I'm happy. There's another player gone. So now we're down to 5 players. And I'm okay. I think, I haven't been getting particularly overrun with cards when I need them. And
no, apart from those kings in the first couple of hands.
which couldn't win anyway. So I'm pleased to be there, down to the last 5, and I've sort of manoeuvred my way. Still feel I'm very much in the game. It doesn't take much to get back in it.
No, you've got 10 times a big blind, haven't you? So
you need to win a hand.
Terrible. You need to try and get something though going.
But what I'm looking at is I've already put in my mind. I know each round's costing 240, and I've already got in my mind.
Where do you want to fall, but don't want to fall below? And the blinds are about to go up, surely.
I'm looking around about 1,200 at this level.
Yeah, the problem is I made the mistake last time I played on Beat the Presenter, where they actually went up on my big blind.
Watch this one. Oh,
wow.
On the turn. It's a straight for John the Brick against Mr. Perfect.
We'll get him out of this. No.
And it's another one gone. Well, now, of course, I'm pleased with that because my equity's gone right up there.
Oh.
Oops.
So we'll just there's the things, and I'll give you those email addresses and things shortly afterwards if you manage to just grab it at that point.
There we go. And Super Grand's raised me there, Jack 8. And because I've still got this number in my mind, I'll put it down. I'm not going to call with Jack 8. I'm still looking to be a better. Yeah. I want to be betting, not calling still, because I still haven't gone down to that level. We're still at 81.60. I've still got it in mind, and I still think it's a level where I'll still have some fold equity, just about. I mean, I'd love to.
Oh, you have? Yeah, absolutely. Still got loads of fold equity.
Yeah, I'd love to have found a hand here, obviously, but again, it's not a hand.
No, Jack 6 is definitely not a hand. And Super Grand's about to find out that Ace 4
I have
isn't either.
No qualms, obviously, passing that. We've got a contest here. To me, this one, I'm thinking, come on, fight, boys. You might get me in the last three. If John the Brick wins it.
Yeah, he's got to be pretty confident that his nines are good. He's hoping that Super Grand is going to come out betting, and he's now he's going to come over the top, I'm sure.
He does?
He does, yeah. That's a good plan. This is really what I was saying earlier. If you're confident that Super Grand's going to put in a continuation bet, then why not try and get a bit more mileage? Even though your nines are vulnerable, you have to be pretty confident, though, that the person is going to do it. We've seen Super Grand being that aggressive type of player, is likely to carry on with a continuation bet. Done nothing wrong. A lot of the times you'll win it with the Ace 4.
Yeah.
It's not a bad hand for an Ace 4, but, oh, look at that. He's been rewarded with kings.
Well, I've got Queen Jack. I think this is a good situation. Too. I'm just pushing it all in. There's nothing else. I want to gain the maximum fold equity. Obviously, Pet Zone would have passed it.
Oh.
John the Brick with kings is obviously not going to pass it, and he hits a king.
And that's it. There's no outs for you now.
I've got no regrets there. Actually hit a jack just to tease on the river.
One question, James, that our viewers might want to know is, could you have made it a smaller bet there? Of 480 rather than commit all 1,700 or whatever it was, or
basically, I've got
15 something. 1520. Is it 1520? Well, no, because there must have been another. Oh, the big blind, yeah.
There's a big blind in there as well, so there's one.
So about 14, 1500, something like that.
So I've no, I want to just maximise fold equity. I actually am looking to take down the blinds 240 because it's a good percentage on my stack. So I want to increase my fold equity or have it maximum fold equity. If it goes wrong, then I hope to get lucky and win the pot and double up. And just, that's it. Because if I put in...
Look here, James, we've got Pet's Home going out against a straight. Oh, he's hit a house on the end.
Yeah.
But what did he have there? I just missed that one.
There we go. He's got a straight.
Oh, sorry, I thought that was a pair of nines. It's not,
Ace
sorry. I'm getting blind here. I thought it was a pair of nines. It's, in fact, 8-9.
Super Grand.
Yeah. Okay. So, we haven't seen that 7-8 yet, James. Now, well, the thing I was saying about 7-8 Super Grand is it's not really a great hand heads up. It's more of a hand that you want to play against a few people in position. So this is if you're about to get it in the next couple of hands, and this is not really an ideal situation. Well, but he's hit a flush, and he probably wants to put a little bet in here for the simple reason he's only got a 9 high flush. Last thing he wants to see is another heart come on board. And that was... I think it was inevitable, really. It's a bit... would have been a risky play, I think.
Yeah, the question you asked before, the thing is, if I put, say, 3 times the big blind in or whatever with my hand, 480, and someone called me with 480, well, basically I'm just virtually committed with this.
Leaves you about 1,000 or so, just under. Yeah.
I just wanted to maximise the fold equity there, and most hands will pass. You know, what percentage of hands are going to pass is what is in my mind, and I think a very high percentage of hands are going to pass. I think against 3 people, I reckon. Well, I reckon certainly. Let's put it. I think 80% will pass.
You got a lot of hands that will pass.
80% of them will pass, I reckon.
Probably more.
Yeah, I'm saying being conservative, and then of the 20% to call, I've got the percentage chance to win. I mean, even there, I win 18% of the time against the kings.
But the interesting thing is, isn't it?
So that's
whereas you've got 80%, I've probably got
18.
around 8.
I've got 18% with Queen Jack against kings.
No, I meant about percentage of hands that will pass.
Okay.
Whereas you've got 80%, I've probably got around 60%.
Yeah.
So this is interesting, isn't it? Because it shows you that percentage can change according to the person.
Well, yes, but I'm aware of what my fold equity is, and that's part of the game plan, that if I'm prepared to use it to my power when I've got it.
So 5-3 against 6-9, and 6-9 doesn't want to get involved. Pretty even. John the Brick has a slight advantage. Doesn't want to get involved with that. So blinds are fairly expensive now. They've still got some play though.
They've got
about 20 times, well, a bit less. No, it's about 20 times a big blind, so it's not too bad at all. 6, 7, 8, 9. That's looking pretty nice. John the Brick has no part of it apart from backdoor flush draw. And Super Grand should be putting out a bet. No, I'm disappointed at Super Grand. Would have liked to see a bet there. He's checked a queen high flop. Good chance hasn't got part of that. He should be doing it now. That's two weak checks you've seen. Come on, pump it. That's it. Well done.
Yep, good bet.
Yeah, absolutely. Had to do that there. Seen weakness from John the Brick on 2 occasions. Got to make the most of that. You won't hit those hands often enough to make it pay.
Funny enough, the way he did play, funny enough, his fold equity did go up because he actually got the evidence of another check, and also he's got the power that there's only one.
Look, the same situation though, James. This he's got an up and down straight draw as well, but this time he's come out straight away betting. Yeah. So exactly the same situation. He's had the check. He comes out betting and says, "Okay, well."
Of course, that's scarier still for Super Grand because if he hasn't got the 7 or the 9, he doesn't. He hates it even more.
It's got even less chance of him hitting that flop. Absolutely. Well, pair of jacks, that's a pretty nice board for a pair of jacks. Doesn't look like he would have hit that in any way. And he's not taking any chances. If you've got any kind of part of that, then you're going to have to pay. And there's a good chance he might actually get called from a 4 or a 6. Certainly a 6 would probably call him. But unfortunately, for John the Brick, Super Grand didn't have any one of those. Well, this will be interesting. King 5 coming out of a raise. John the Brick's just going to push in, and that's right for me.
Yep, right for me as well.
And that's the end of that hand. I can't see him committing all his stack to this hand.
No, I definitely hope not, because he's got enough chips left to pass.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's got 5,050, which means the way we can look at it is, in play there, we've got 16,000 chips. So therefore, Super Grand, if he doubles up, suddenly goes chip leader. So that shows you how much play he's got. He's got enough play left to put that down.
Interesting here, James. What's John the Brick going to do? He's got a bit of a dilemma here. He likes to call. I don't like it.
Well, it's
because you're not going to hit it very often.
Horrible hand to play after the flop. That's the
Yeah.
problem with it.
Yeah.
And you've got to think about that. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next is you're going to see 3 overcards or your 2. But you're only going to see the 2, 7.5 times. So,
and then your opponent has to hit one of the other 2 cards to make you pay. So otherwise you get nothing.
So it's not the time. You haven't got
here we are, the 7-8.
chips. Oh, here's the 7-8.
Well.
Oh! He's decided to be influenced by Mr. Banin. But he's out of position.
Yeah, I like to see flops with 7-8 Super Grand, that's one thing. I don't really want to be the aggressor with 7-8 that often, unless I'm in very early position on the full table. Not that I want to play that way either. I played it yesterday in a gut shot just as a bit of fun from early position, but I normally wouldn't even play it from early position.
Oh, he's called with it.
Well, he needs a 6 or a 7 or an 8. That's not gonna help. Or a 3 will help him as well now. Lots of outs, but that's not one of them.
Well, the 3 wouldn't win it, to be fair. It would only be a split.
Yeah, but at least he would get his money back.
Yeah. Well, Super Grand, I'm afraid to say.
That's not the Banin way of playing 7-8, I'm afraid, Super Grand. Difference I would have done there is, first of all, I won't be putting a lot of chips behind it. I want to see a flop with 7-8. It wasn't too bad a flop as it goes, and I might have got him off that board. You see, the problem is, because you committed everything pre-flop, he's thinking, well, ace-queen's a pretty good hand pre-flop, let's do it. Once that board has come 5-4-2, is he going to commit the rest of his stack? Or whatever it was, 5-4-3. Is he going to commit the rest of his stack with ace-queen at this point? Now, if you want to make a move, you can think to yourself, okay, well, I can hit a 6, I can hit a 7, I can hit an 8. Unless he's got ace-5 or something, he can't really call me here.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of opportunity to win it post flop if you really want to make the play with it in that fashion. But just shoving it all in pre flop is not really the way I like to play. I like to see a board, and if I have some kind of connection and I feel I can pressurise my opponent, then that's the way to do it.
Right, so he raised though with it, so you wouldn't have raised, but if you have raised for some reason, then a guy comes over the top, then you put it down.
Oh, absolutely, you've got to.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got to. It's, you've got 8 high. You've got to remember that. It's 8 high at the end of the day, so you're not beating an awful lot unless he's coming over unless he's doing it with 4-5 or something. You're very unlikely. So remember, 7/8 a hand is a drawing hand. It's a lovely hand, but it's a drawing hand. It needs other cards surrounding it to help it to improve.
It's not a brilliant hand, heads up.
No. Okay, well, it's time for another break. So don't go too far away, because me and James are going to be right here just in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Poker Night Live with myself, Mark Prince Charles Banin, and the ever-present James Browning. And myself and James have just been having a look at the World Series events going on in end of June, beginning of July, licking our lips.
Exactly, that's exactly the way we were.
Certainly starting to get in the mood. So
there's a 1,500 no limit on the Tuesday, Mark.
Yeah, that's the first one, isn't it?
Yeah, and then look, there's a pot limit the next day.
I actually like the pot limit one myself.
Okay, I like that. Limit one, you could have a rest.
My only cash in pot limit, in fact, at the World Series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had one cash. My first ever main event, I think, was it my second? It might have been my second, actually. I made a cash in the pot limit, yeah.
All right.
So, there you are. I've got one to my name.
That's good.
Only another 50 odd to go.
Limit hold'em, short-handed, no limit.
Yeah, some good events at the beginning, isn't there?
I like the Saturday one there. That looks good. The 2,000 no limit. Yes,
so lots of stuff. Yeah, so it might be interesting. So watch this space.
And as Mark said, of course, the dollar rate's good at the moment.
Yeah, excellent to go over there. So I think what we'll do is we've got a couple of emails, but before we go to our emails, I think we'll go into our multi-table tournament and perhaps do the emails over the top of that so we don't miss any of the action. So let's head over there.
Still time for you to contact us, of course. Now, have you got any questions?
Yeah, now we've hit the final table and we've brought it forehand, and the reason being is because we didn't want you to miss any of the last action, and we're here for a while, I believe, James. So, in fact, I've just been reliably informed that we've got, in fact, 9 players, James. So this is just before the final
fighting to get to the last 8.
I thought these 4 players fighting out for 45 minutes. I thought that was a bit much. So, in fact, these are to get onto the final. So this is interesting. So, waiting for a final table to appear.
Yep, and it's whoosh, goes whoosh with his chips.
Well, no one wanting to miss out on the final table. Of course, they're all in the money here. They've already got $10, I believe, for this particular prize. And let's have a quick look to see.
I think 18, didn't it? 10th, if I remember rightly.
$18, you're right, for 10th place, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, and we're currently, 9-handed. So we've had our 10th place finisher already.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll tell you what we'll do. While we're waiting for the final table, let's hit a couple of emails as we've got a little more time than I thought we had. Okay, so we've got an email from Supergram, which we did, and hopefully that answered your question, Supergram. Thanks for that. We've got one from Sam, a.k.a. Lumas, who's a regular player on the show. Thanks for your email, Sam. Just a few hypothetical situations for you two experts. I think he's emailed the wrong show, James, is he? He's referring to.
No, he's on the right show.
Say I wanted to play 25 cent, 50 cent, no limit hold'em with a $500 bankroll. Is that a right bankroll, first of all, James?
Sorry, 25 cent, 50 cent.
Yeah. That's way over, isn't it?
So, the maximum buy-in is $50.
Yeah.
And I think he needs...
20 times that.
No, I think 40 times.
40?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Oh, I've always betted all the others.
No, 40 times. I definitely think 40 times. That's what I work on.
Difference of opinion.
So
all the others work on 20.
Well, I don't agree with them. It's 40 times.
So he's starting again on me. He's starting again.
No,
watch him.
You need 40 times the maximum buy-in, definitely. And now you can play multi-tables with that bankroll or whatever, but 40 times, that's it. That's the level we should be at. There's a lot of tests being done on deviation, etc., etc. You really need a big bankroll. Too many people play under bankrolled in this game. It's a big, big bankroll. Some people who are actually bankrolling players, they work exactly on that format as well. And they're bankrolling whole blocks of players. And they are giving them, they have to make sure they've got 40 times the maximum buy-in.
But James, a lot of players don't play with 40 times, do they? I mean,
Well,
we're
so
talking about...
that doesn't mean to say they're doing it right.
We're saying, I mean, how many players playing the 25-50 game will have a $200,000 bankroll? I don't think many of them will.
If you're playing a 2-4 game, you need 16,000 bankroll. It's 40 times the buy-in. I mean, I stick by this religiously to what you need. I really think that. I would not go any less.
Yeah.
And the worst thing in poker is it's very difficult to play with frightened money.
Yeah.
When you've got that much bankroll and you're in that game, you feel free and easy. If you get wiped out, you can maximum buy in again. So you've got your full arsenal of weapons in the game. You don't just have to win the hand. You can push them off the hand.
I certainly agree with you on the point that obviously the more money you've got behind you, then the more comfortable you feel about playing, and you're less inclined to feel play with scared money.
Just think of this. How many times have people come up to you with the sort of the internet folklore where they say, oh, as soon as I drew some money out of my account, I just couldn't win. It's just like they punished me for taking my money out.
Yeah.
It's not because they've punished you. It's because the person has suddenly felt under pressure because they're playing with a smaller bankroll.
Yeah.
And now, psychologically, it's affected their plays. That's what's happened. The internet sites aren't trying to say, OK, now press the button, you're going to lose. No way. It's because the person says, oh, I've got to win now, because he's taken the money out to buy the wife a new car or whatever. He's under pressure. He doesn't play the game so well.
Yeah.
In fact, what he should have done, if he needed to draw the money out, and he didn't have any more for his bankroll, he should have dropped down levels and played where he was still comfortable.
Interesting. Okay. So he goes on to say he wants to play 25 cent, 50 cent with a 500 bankroll.
He's got a massive there. So it's 50 cent he's playing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's short though, isn't it?
Sorry.
That's,
50 cents. He's
it's $50, is it?
No, he's.
What's a buy-in for 50 cent? It's $50, isn't
it? No. Yes, it is. Beg your pardon. $50.
So $2,000.
$2,000.
So he's miles away.
Yeah, he's miles off. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's miles off. Even for mine, I'm saying $1,000, and James saying $2,000.
Yeah.
So even against mine, your first question is: if I go down to $400 straight away, what should I do? Okay. So he's down to $400. So he's going on a premise that $500 is enough, which you said it really isn't.
It's not.
So first of all, what you should be doing is, if you go down to $500, you should be going down to 25 cent to a 25 cent game.
Game probably.
Yeah, or 10.25, whatever it happens to be. Yeah. So that's the first thing, James.
Yeah.
He needs to go down a step.
Yeah.
So that's the first play, at least. So second question is, if I got down to $200, what should I do? Well, if we're talking about 25 cent maximum blind for the $400 game, guess what? It's going to be a 10 cent blind for a 200.
Well, basically, just bear in mind, I really, really believe people should not be under bankrolled in this game, and I think it's very important not to be. And just basically, you just got to move in relation to your guideline. Right. You could say 30 times a big blind. Now, that really is the lowest, maximum buy-in. That is the lowest I would allow. And now you really have to probably be a good player in that game. If you're a good player in the game, 30 times the maximum buy-in, fine. That's knowing that you are probably one of the better players in that game. But still, the variations, you would need that 30 times maximum buy-in for me to be comfortable. But when you've got that, you can play multi-tables, where this actually smooths out the variance, because it's unlikely you're going to be unlucky all at the same time everywhere. So I got lucky here, I got unlucky here, I got unlucky. So therefore you can feel what happens with your bankroll, etc., etc. But you can have the day where you get unlucky, 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 unlucky. It will happen as well. That's why the very fact that you can imagine that means that could be 4 maximum buy-ins gone. Right, that just puts it into perspective. So if you started with 30, I know we've only got 26 left. That is the perspective. But we've always got to feel comfortable. Once I think you've come down to half your bank, certainly half the bankroll, you know, you've definitely got to be moving down. Things aren't going right. You're probably not going to be playing as well, and that's the other thing, Mark. If you're having a bad run,
your confidence,
psychologically you're probably not playing well. There's another reason why you need to drop down, because it'll help you to regain your confidence.
Yeah.
Plus, as you drop down a level, the standard of play is likely to be worse. Poker Night Live is a little bit different. We've got some very good players playing at low levels. But generally on a site, the lower you go, it does match the standard.
Yeah.
So it helps you. Once your bankroll's gone down a bit, you've gone to a slightly easier land. When you build up the bankroll, step back up again.
Okay, well, hope that answers your question, Sam. The only thing I'll say to you, Sam, is look, you know when you're playing with scared money. You've been playing this game for a while now, and you'll know you've played across various different levels. I know you have. So you'll know if you're playing scared money, and if you feel slightly scared by the game you're playing according to your bankroll, then you know you should be playing in the one below. So you know, just something to think about. I've got one more from Andy Late, I believe, and. Andy's saying, I'm a tournament player, do quite well, but do enjoy a cash game. In a cash game, in 5 minutes, I was dealt pocket aces, kings, queens, and ace-king suited, and found myself $20 down. Was raising 3 to 5 as a big blind with the pocket pair in each case, and every time, apart from the aces where it was folded to me, I lost. Any tips on how to improve my cash game from a tourney player point of view?
Well, I mean, that just isn't a long enough trial to determine that you're not a good cash player. I mean...
He's been unfortunate, hasn't he?
He's been unfortunate. The only thing is it'd be interesting to know what size did you raise when you had the aces, because unlike a tournament, the difference is in the cash game is you do want to get some action, because in any hand in a cash game, you want to try and maximise your win. Whereas in a tournament, there'll come a situation there where you say, I've won enough, I've only got one life, my tournament life, I'll take this down and protect my tournament life. Cash game, you want to maximise your win. This doesn't mean to say you want to have a huge field against you. You see, you can still thin the field with your big pair, but then you want them to play. You don't want to push them out the blinds, win the blinds when you've got aces or kings. That's bad in a cash game. You want to start, a few little tears will start to run down your cheeks. You say, I've just missed an opportunity. I want to play with this hand. You don't want them to pass the blinds. That's horrible. So you want to maximise. So you can play trickier in a cash game. You can try slow playing. You can go for check raises. You can do all sorts to try and get more money into the pot, try to maximise the wins. When it comes to the turn, you say, OK, I'll tempt you to try and hit your flush, but I'll give you the wrong odds. Well done, you took a bad bet. Unlucky, you hit your flush, but next time, if you keep on taking those bad odds, you're going to give me your money, and that's what I want. So that is basically the principle I'll be looking at. You can be trickier, you're trying to maximise wins on hands in cash games, where in tournament, you've got to be aware of your tournament one life.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say, in addition to that, most tournament players, in comparison to cash game players, when they're going from tournaments to cash games, tend to be a little overly aggressive and don't get most value out of their hands as they're trying to over-protect their tournament life a little bit. Of course, in a cash game, you don't need to do that, which means you can take that little bit more risk and you don't need to over-protect your hand. Of course, in a tournament, if you get wiped out, you're out of the tournament. That's always something you've got to think about. In a cash game, all you want to do is charge the person the wrong price each time. So that's very important to remember.
Yeah. I think sometimes, just to add to that, because you were bringing up about the tournament player, it was a good idea, is that the tournament player also sometimes forgets that because in the cash game, of course, the blinds don't rise, that there's people there who have been very quiet. Give them respect. If they haven't played a hand for an hour, watch out and just get away from. You don't need to be there anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas tournament players tend to forget about this.
Yeah.
They just sometimes get into another gear and get over chirpy against the wrong customers.
Yeah.
So be very aware of the different styles of the individuals in your cash game.
And it's much easier, isn't it, in a cash game, James? Because in a tournament, you've got the status quo is never there. It's always variable. Things are changing, blinds are going up, stacks are going up, changing according to how you should play. So it means that even tight players might choose to suddenly get aggressive because they need to start building up their chips. In a cash game, that's never the situation. Players will start generally how they finish.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's the thing to remember. So once you can find how a particular player is playing, you can just spend some time at the beginning of the cash game trying to really focus, and you should do this all the way through, but trying to really focus how each player is playing, because that will never change, generally speaking, throughout the night.
Yeah, check out the size of their raise. If we get to see the hand, let's remember, perhaps he raises one price with certain sorts of hands and another price for other sorts of hands. You get people having amazing patterns in cash games.
They do, yeah.
Check it out. Don't tell anyone, just absorb it.
Not so easy in tournaments, though, is it? Because
No,
they do vary because
as you said,
of that.
that's a great point. It varies all the time because of pressure. Then the guy might push in with 9-4 offsuit because he has to. You can't tell.
No.
Because then you can tell, but you'd have to say, he plays like this when it's this level. He plays like this when he's got so many chips. He plays like this when there's so many people left. Well, there's too many variables there to be absolutely sure. But those variables we take into account and say, is he desperate? Oh, he might be playing with this many hands. That's what we do in tournaments. But as Mark says, the players are more stable in the cash games, and because of that, we should be able to get a bit of a read. On the other side of that, we have to be careful still to vary our play in the cash game, so we're not fully an open book in the cash game. So therefore, we still, every now and again, push in some raises with different hands. So occasionally we'll see these, and then eventually when we push it in with a big hand again, perhaps we're more likely to get paid on it.
Yeah, so interesting point that, isn't it?
Yeah, very good, yes.
It is a good point. So don't, I think you're drawing a little bit too much, like James said, I think you're drawing a little bit too much just from just a few hands. So very important that you do. We've got one more, which I'm just going to go to before our multi-table tournament. Let's just have a quick look at this one. This is also a no-named person, and this is someone who's texting, and he's saying, I played at Sheffield today, had 18,000, first to act, had ace-10 of hearts. Blinds were 1-2,000. Went all in and ran into kings. Hit a 10 but went out. Did I make the right move? He had 18,000, James. Blinds 1 and 2. He's got 9 times a big blind. And he was first to act. It didn't say how many players were left, though, did he? That's the only thing. So we don't know how many players he's betting into.
No. OK, I mean, each round here is going to cost you 3,000, basically. You've got 18. You've only got 6 rounds left. I don't think you've done anything wrong at all. Yeah. I think you've increased your fold equity here. I think... I don't mind the play at all. I think here, your awkward situation, because if you make it 6,000, well, you've only got 12,000 left. Someone calls, so therefore there's 12,000 in the middle and you've got 12,000 left. So you can get yourself in awkward situations here anyway. I don't mind your play at all. I think you're very close to sort of Harrington's M, as he calls it, basically your chip stack divided by the cost of each round. And I think in the latter stage of these tournaments, that is, M does come into play quite a bit. Yeah. And you've got an M of 6. And for the M of 5, he says it's all in. So if it was also your position would be the thing. If you were in, where was he?
First position.
First to act.
Yeah. You see, this is the thing.
It makes it slightly more borderline. And we didn't say how many people at the table.
No.
If it was short-handed the table, then I'd say fine. Because of course there's more chance you fold equity.
When you say short-handed, how many players, James? 6?
Yes, yeah, definitely 6.
So.
Even 7, but it's just your chance of people folding is gone, and you want that fold equity. And this play wants a big chunk of the time people to say, okay, you've got the 3,000. You've now got another round, because it's taking that 3,000. What it does, it takes him to 21,000, which we divided by the 3 gives him 7. That moves him away from the 5. The M of 5, where is the push move. So it takes him a bit more breathing space.
Yeah.
He has a chance to find an even better hand.
Yeah.
He has a chance now with a better hand that he has that little whisker more chips. He can actually put a different bet in still.
Yeah. For me...
leaving himself the reserve, if that goes wrong, back to this with the next lot of chips if he moves away from it.
You see, I play it a little bit differently, in all frankness. I play... I don't like making the move of ace-10 under the gun. If I'm 6-handed, then maybe. If I'm 7-handed, I'm not so keen on doing it. 7 or more, obviously. I personally would rather make the move from the button with 15,000, or whatever I've got left. Yeah, I've got 18, so 15, because I've lost the blinds. I'd rather make the move from the button with 15,000 on the next... 3 card in 3 hands time, with a much smaller holding than ace-10. But I'd rather do it when all I've got left is the small blind or the big blind. I'd even prefer to do it from the cut-off with Queen Jack than I would from Ace 10 from an early position for me.
Well, that's why I did ask how many people at the table.
Yeah,
I said,
it
to me,
is
it depends on
important.
how many people at the table.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it?
But I'll put it's borderline, because if I only had 15,000, I've got no contest. I don't care how many people I'm pushing now anyway.
Yeah.
So with Ace 10 of suited, I'm pushing with my 15,000. No problem.
Okay.
It'd be automatic then, because that's just time is running out. If I don't, I'm very likely, I'm favourite to lose 3,000 more the next two hands. I'll be down to 12.
Yeah.
And now it's really getting tough.
Of course, one other thing very quickly before we go to our final table is to remember that it does also, a very important part of this equation is where are you in relation to prize money, to bubble, all these things are very, very important. So that's because that can affect when you should play and how you should play. Anyway, time to go to our multi-table tournament. I believe that we're down to 8 or 9 or maybe even 7. Let's have a look. And sure enough, we're down to 7, so this should be interesting. And blinds are 1,000, 2,000. Starts with 125 players. Each one started with 1,500 chips, and these are our final 7, so it's pretty good. Just to give you an idea on some of the prize money that's on offer here, we've got 10th place, who's already gone, obviously, is hit $18.75. 9th got $37.50. 8th got $50. And the last one to go out, which was 7th, $62.50. I say that was the last one. In fact, he's already gone. The 6th has already gone now, has he? No, he hasn't. 7th has gone. So $62.50 is what he got. And just to give you some of those names perhaps associated with that, Swan was the guy in 10th place with $18. Big X Evil, who we caught a glimpse of earlier, $37.50. Another one that we caught a glimpse of earlier who's doing quite well was Voda Benny. He actually finished in 8th after all of that. He got $50 for his troubles. Neshanubis, who's a regular on the show, we saw him play a sit and go earlier and got bubbled there. On this occasion, he didn't get bubbled. He got himself into the middle prize money, $62.50 for 7th place. And we're down to 6 players left now, so let's see how these guys do. 6th place pays $81.25. And, well, oh, look at that. It's last 2 cards for a straight. So Storm goes out in 6th place, and he's the one to collect that $81.25. And now we're into triple figures, because next player out gets the big $100, $100 for their $10 entry. So a nice return on their money. Only 5 players fighting, so they've done very well to get this far, beating 125 other players, well, 120 other players.
Just as a little wrap-up on that Ace-10 suited there, it's interesting to see that the Ace-10 suited against the pair of kings is 32.65% to win. And would tie 0.37% of the time.
Do about 2 to 1, yeah.
So not too bad shape, and now we can add fold equity on there. You don't need a lot of fold equity to be chucked on there to make this...
What about, what's the odds with against Ace King or Ace Queen in that situation? About the same, isn't it? Very similar.
No. The Ace-10 is worse shape against the
Is it worse?
Ace King, yes.
Right. Even though you've still got the same outs,
yeah,
3 outs.
It's not too far off. I think it's slightly worse, beg your pardon. It'll be slightly worse. No, there won't be a lot in it. Yeah, you're right. There won't be much in it. Actually, I won't give them... Well, it depends if it's suited or not. Or
yeah, just stick anything in there. Be curious to see. I think it should be about...
It'll be about 30, I think. Oh, no, it's a bit less. No, it is less as well. 28.65, yeah.
So it's a little bit worse then?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're better off having to be up against kings than you are against Ace King. Well, look at this. Saville's now picked up the nut flush draw, and Duke was the one trying to push him off it, trying to represent what Saville actually had. So a bit of mistiming there for Duke. Not a bad move. The move was good, just unfortunately walked into a hand that actually had the nuts. So I think it was a nuts anyway. It was a nut flush anyway. I'm not sure if there was a straight flush on there. So anyway, never mind. Duke, good move, just bad timing. $100 goes in Duke's bank account. So nicely played, Duke. He's down to fifth, and fourth is what we're going to be looking at now.
Well, nice hand there for pocket pair. It's not a pocket pair, but it's ace queen suited. With the amount of money he's got, he says that's good enough. Well, he's still there. Oh, and a jack improves Hoosh, but it improves him more because it gives him top straight. Broadway.
Yeah, fortunately for Hooch, he only lost 6,000 odd in that coup. So he's not doing too badly at the moment. So 4 players left. Next bit of prize money is $118, which, funny enough, is what our chip leader has got in terms of thousands. 118,000 for Saville. He's looking very comfortable at the moment with blinds at 15-3. Means he's got just a touch under 40 times the big blind. So he's, in fact, now he's got 40 times the big blind. So he's in a very strong situation. When you've got 4 left and you've got 40 times the big blind, you rub your hands together, you've got lots of play. And especially when the others around you are nowhere near in your vicinity. I mean, they really are far away, James, aren't they? Especially pocket pair, who's got 8,000 odd.
That's right. So this is actually a situation here, there's quite a bit of play here where we were talking about at the top of the show here. Saville here really can sort of squeeze the blinds out of these people.
Especially Coco Pops and Hoosh.
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't want to pick up on pocket pair too much because he's likely to go into anything. But Coco Pops and Hoosh, especially Hoosh, won't want to get won't want to go out in fourth against when those 2 players could go out in fourth, couldn't they? So that's interesting. Now King Jack, will he have a go here? He knows that he's desperate, and he does. He knows that he's desperate. He's decided to have a look.
He's got the 2 overcards. He wasn't too bad shape, but however, the pocket 9s stand up.
I don't mind the play, James, do you?
No, I don't mind the play.
Yeah, he could have done that with anything, couldn't he?
And he still has life left, that's the thing. It wasn't his tournament life, so...
he could have done it with a worse king even.
If it was his tournament life, I wouldn't like it.
I mean, I've seen players go in with King 8, never mind King Jack.
No.
I was waiting for James's reaction.
I can't believe that.
I'm teasing James because that's how he went out of his tournament in Paris, which you've seen screened on Poker Night Live a few times. Well, bits of it anyway. So back to the game in question. And Pocket Pair is now moved himself into the dizzy heights of 16,000. And Hoosh picks up that one. Saville has got an opportunity here. He really could be putting, especially now, he could really be putting on the pressure on Hoosh, who definitely, now he's looking at the other 2 stacks, won't want to go out before them. He thinks, oh, I'm destined for second here. Second gives 250. Why should I be in a position where I could possibly take 118? The other 2 are much more likely to do it. So, but Saville doesn't seem to want to do it. Doesn't want to seem to take Hoosh on for some reason.
Well, there's Coco Pops. Pushed in with a small pair. Well, I don't think Saville's going to... Oh, he has called it. Wow.
Well, he's got a few more outs now. An 8 will do it too. No.
I'm actually not certain if that was a good call, really.
He had so many chips, that was a thing, wasn't it?
He did, but it was a pretty horrible hand to call with, and now he's just given him a few more chips. I think I might have been mean with him, just kept him on that low level when he was extra dangerous. It was less dangerous. 10-4 is pretty horrible hand to call.
It is, that's the only thing.
It was a miracle that he had a hand. He's going to be such an underdog in the hand, generally, with that 10-4. It's a horrible hand.
He was probably getting odds, though, James, wasn't he? Against any 2 random cards. Even Ace-King, he was probably getting odds to call.
Yeah, he was 10-4 suited.
Let's see, there was 9,000. He put 9,000.
He was the suited. Actually, the suited did help it, to tell the truth.
14 and a half thousand. So he had 6,000 to call into 14,500.
Okay, he was.
So even against Ace King.
Yeah,
he
was
odds,
actually. Yeah.
So unless he's dominated, then he hasn't got odds.
Or against a pair.
Or against or against a pair, absolutely. Apart from 3s or lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Interesting, isn't it, though? But yeah, you're right. You don't really want to double him up there,
But that time, I think I could have just kept him starved of his chips.
Yep, good point there.
Just waited for the one. I'm looking to finish him off with a slightly better hand, but I just don't want to sort of... he had him in such a lovely situation, but now things have changed, and...
Oh, look at this.
We have a new leader.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Tangled with Hoosh.
Yeah, now Hoosh has got the chips. Well, he might be left to rue the time he gave Cocoa Pops those chips. And he might be disappointed that he didn't pressurise Hoosh's big blind a couple of times. Because once again, if he was to pressurise, if Saville from that position was to pressurise Hoosh's big blind when he had the chips, he would have found pocket pair and Cocoa Pops in majority of cases would have been quite happy to let it go, hoping that Hoosh would go out and they'd pick up second or third automatically. So it would have been very hard for any of the three players to call him without big hands.
Of course, his time he tangled with Hoosh was a bad timing, and
yeah, Hoosh with the kings there, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's all changed though because Hoosh is now the big chip leader.
Yeah, role reversal, isn't it, James? Although pocket pair and Cocoa Pops are still struggling, and now this is Hoosh's opportunity to pressurise Saville. Not as good as Saville's opportunity because.
Well, he's found a real hand now anyway, so we're going to get pressurising here. It's 12,000. Pocket pair there, he's got...
Oh, he's thinking about it.
He was, and that was...
He's really down to the wire now. He's got a third of his chips in play.
Well, it's all going in now for pocket pair, that's for sure, because he's found a pocket pair.
Yeah, look what he's up against. Gosh,
and it's very good because he'll get Cocoa Pops to pass, and so he'll have the extra money in there. Because I think Cocoa Pops will... Oh, no, he's called! Wow! And Cocoa Pops has gone out! Well, I'm surprised to see Cocoa Pops call that. I didn't expect him to call.
Yeah, I think he was looking at the prize money, James. He said, look, if I get fourth, I get 118. If I get third, I get 156. Let's try and go for the 375. If I can triple up, I can get a bit closer to that mark. So I don't mind it totally.
No. Except there was a... I suppose the raise might have meant so much, was what he was thinking.
Interesting hand, though.
But the only thing is, when pocket pairs called the raise, I suppose that didn't mean so much either, did it? Because he didn't have much money.
No.
He got wrong-footed by the situation, unfortunately, when in fact they both had genuine hands. So probably a little bit unfortunate to be wrong-footed there.
Of course, a Jack or Queen pops, and he's looking very happy now. He's going to be sitting on, 16 odd thousand. Hoosh winning the side pot there. Sorry, he would have been on something like 30 odd thousand, wouldn't he? 30, 35,000, I think. I think at about 12. So, triple that, whatever that would have been. Close to it.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have been tripling because pocket pair didn't have so much chips.
Yeah, no, that's right.
That's why I'm not certain it really was... I still think I probably would have sat back and just let pocket pair fight it out with Hoosh there.
Yeah, tough decision though, isn't it? It's close.
Tough decision, yeah.
Marginal, yeah. Difficult to make in sort of 15 seconds, but you're not going to be that far away with
every decide. I think the key is that if pocket pair had the same chips as him, now this becomes more tempting because you are actually getting the full odds. And maybe that's enough to swing it.
Yeah. And of course, the other thing that would have changed it for me
he had less than half of his stack pocket pair.
Did he? Right.
Yeah, so...
The other thing that would have swung it for me as well, perhaps in the other direction, is had the prize money been a little bit more of a gradient, less of a gradient, so it was a bit more even.
Yeah.
Whereas
because here, 118 to 156 in this tournament, that's still quite a leap in this still.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's $38. That's quite a significant leap in the scale of this tournament.
Yeah, true. $38 represents a good percentage. 30-odd%. So, down to 3.
The battle continues. Now, Hoosh there, chip leader, he should be pressurising.
He should be now,
and
definitely.
He does, that's very good.
And he should be pressurising, well,
that's fine.
Saville, really.
Well, he has done, hasn't he? He's put in, and I think this is fine again, because again, we've gone to the chip leader putting in the flat raise, which I think is fine.
Should he be raising every hand here?
He should be a high amount of raising, yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to with this.
No, not when he's on the big blind.
No, I mean, because he has got
we can't
a
do it anyway,
considerably
he can only call.
and it's going to cost him 6,000 to call here. He's close, isn't it? 6,390.
2 to 1. I don't want to call with 6-2. I don't care what the other guy's got.
He could get a flush. No.
Yeah, I don't want to call with 6-2. It's just so bad, isn't it? You know, even if I could see the cards.
It was on the board, a borderline decision there, wasn't it?
Yeah, even if I can see the cards, I just don't want to double him up.
It's particularly bad, that one, actually.
Yeah. Like one of the worst, isn't it? So
it probably was about 33, probably about 33% as it happened.
Yeah. Well, King Jack, I think he's going to call this one though, isn't he? And he's going to give me. See, this is the problem, James. Now he's doubled him up once.
Yeah.
Before he could. This now, if he did it here, this is different. Will an 8 come? No. So if he did it here, then that's not so bad because he hasn't doubled him up from 18 to 39. He's doubled him up from whatever it was to 18.
Yeah.
So now he's given him extra ammunition.
Ironically, he was more of an underdog with his King Jack, as it happens, because he was dominated.
Yeah.
Ironically, he had more chance with the 6-2 than he had with his King Jack.
Yeah, incredible, isn't it?
Which is the irony of the situation, isn't it? But we're talking about the whole box of hands would be against again. That's what we're talking about. And of course, that King Jack did have a chance to be overcards against a pair, or which of course the 6-2 is not going to be, and it has a chance to be even against a King 10 or whatever, where it would be a favourite. But just ironically, in the situation, it was actually worse shaped than the 6-2, just to laugh at us.
Yeah, and now he's not putting himself pressure, but where he was looking very comfortable with 120 odd thousand, he's down to 107 now. So he's got to. He's not as comfortable as he was. It's a shame that, because I think he missed a lot of opportunities. I think he just really should have been interested in just stealing blinds here, not interested in playing anything beyond that, unless he happens to have a hand. And he's not using that chip power. In fact, none of these guys have been, have they?
Nope.
Saville didn't want to use it, and Hoosh doesn't want to use it. And this is a shame, because it's different now because the other two are very even. So they don't mind if they go out before the other. They might take more of a chance now that are more even. But when Pocket Pair was down to 18,000 and Saville was on 40, there's no way he'd want to finish in third.
I think Hoosh has still got the power here, though, because the two guys, there's a big leap here between third and second. This is a big leap. 156 to
Nearly
$250.
$100.
Now, they're going to be well aware of that one. And he's still got this he's got this situation, he's got 107,000, they've got about 30 of, not knocking on the door, 40,000 each. Whoa, when he comes in, and situations here, they're not going to be wanting to go out. And he's opened the door there because it was...
he's called.
He's called, wow.
Oh,
he's got it. Yeah, okay. But he did it the wrong way. I think he's actually had to get lucky there. I think he could have pressured it with a bigger bet because he wanted to squeeze those chips out of him.
And that's a very marginal difference between those two hands, isn't it? Ace-4 offsuit against 9-10 suited.
Yeah.
What is it, 54, 46, something like that?
Yeah, the 9-10's not too bad, actually, because the middle hand suited. Yeah, not bad at all.
And, of course, he hasn't got the blocker on with the ace either.
So, but I didn't quite like the way he went about it, except he was obviously decided to call the raise whatever. That was the only thing. Yeah. But I'd have preferred him to raise his fold equity because he doesn't particularly want to be getting heads up with the 9-10.
No.
That's just the backup.
Yeah.
So I'd have preferred him to ask a bigger question and be happy to squeeze out another 6,000 from the two boys.
Yeah.
And then keep on repeating this.
Yeah, no,
As it happens, the way he did it, he was virtually just calling again, as you said. I like the way you said that before. When sometimes you make a situation just a call rather than making it a raise, and that's what he was doing again, because you should have pressured a bit more in that situation there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
When there's more people at the table, I don't mind the chip leader doing the flatter raise there, because this is, you know, you can get away from it or whatever, but here he was wanting to pressure. Big hand there.
Yeah, kings against threes. Be interesting. Oh, look, Hoosh has gone all in. And he's got instantly called. Saville's thinking, yummy, yummy, thank you very much. And he's really right back in it now. And Hoosh tried to get him off the hand, but there's no way he was getting rid of those kings. So Saville's back in it. This is a bit more dangerous now. Hooch took a chance. Didn't quite pay off on that occasion. Unfortunately, did have a big hand. Might have folded a few weak aces. Queen 9. And Saville's got a bit of a feel-good factor now. So can he rock Hooch's boat? And Hooch playing with a 7-8. He's hit a part of it. Bottom pair. Wants to come out betting here, and he does. And all he has to really worry about is whether the guy's got a 9 or not. He knows that if he had an ace, there's a good chance he would have raised. Ah, curious. Saville didn't raise there. He's just come out betting there with the ace. Doesn't look particularly nice for Hooch with 3 overcards.
Actually, I want to just add something there, just on the other way, just to have a look at the other side, because I was doing a bit of lateral thinking there, and just having to look to see what else. When, of course, he's done the flat raise with the 9-10, if he's prepared to call the raise whatever, it's not as bad as we first thought. If he's prepared to call the raise whatever. The reason being is he will actually be opening the window when the guy decides to try a bluff raise with maybe 7-2 offsuit or whatever.
Right.
Which will happen some of the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's
so if he is a player against a player who he thinks is capable of doing that, we'll have to put that into the possibilities as well.
Very good, yeah. Very good point.
So just an interesting thing there. So if you are against a mover and a groover, sometimes it's not so bad because he actually will. Whereas if you'd bet bigger, you'd have gone. But this time he might actually decide to push all his chips in with the worst hand.
Yeah. So
it's hard to do against a 10-9, but it's 10-9 suited.
It's possible.
Yeah, and 10-9 suited will play quite well, even if you walk against a big pair. It's not great, but and in this situation, as we thought was very close, it's actually 47% against the ace-4.
Yeah, so I was right, pretty much. It's 47-53.
And it ties half the time as well.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
Well, none of them particularly happy about their hand, and they split that. Aces and 5s with a king kicker. So, board plays, their cards don't play at all. 7-2 in Hooch's hand, and look at this.
For Saville.
Level. Oh, he's not going to get him off this, is he? Hooch just decided to fold there. Saville trying to put a stop bet in there. And
well, Hooch likes that better. What's he going to do? Just makes it up. Ah, he was waiting for a little move from Saville there, but of course now Saville's actually got in front. Oh, and how has he got in front? He's actually got trip 2s, and he's just... Oh, wait, he's not going to do anything here, surely. No.
Yeah, he didn't want to draw to his 3 anymore, did he?
No.
Wasn't particularly a good draw.
I think he actually believed he had a 2 there.
Oh, look at this, James.
He's found another hand.
Aces this time.
And he's against the King-Queen.
He's going to raise, isn't he? Should make up to 12, hopefully. Made up to 16. A bit more, and...
Saville gets away from it.
Yeah, he just gets a little bit more out of it. Not as much as he would have liked.
Hooch, and I think it's a correct pass there. He's on the small blind, out of position. There's no need to make it up. As I've said before, in this format where the small blind is first to speak, you can pass a few more hands than normal.
Oh, absolutely, you have to.
Whereas when the small blind is on the button, you're probably calling really the majority of hands and playing the majority. But out of position, such a big thing.
Why would you?
And don't be frightened to be... Your fold equity now, out of position, should be a lot higher than I'm actually seeing in a lot of these heads-up encounters. It's a different game to...
Yeah, that's a very important point to bear in mind that when you're playing the... when you're playing on this
site.
particular site, yeah, with the button being the big blind, then...
The big blind's got everything in his favour. He's in the game already, and he's got the button. And now he can choose whether to raise you or not, if he likes it. Or if you just make it up, he's got you there, and he's still got position on you. The big blind, the button has a huge advantage in the heads up here, doesn't it, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, huge, much more than a normal
So
situation.
don't be frightened to pass that small blind quite a lot. And we're seeing that from Saville. That's good. Small blind decides to make that one up. He's made up with an ace, but there's a king for Savile. He checks. And he's checked, Savile has. He's played it tricky.
And this looks like he, Hooshes could be winning here. He might feel that he's winning with king 4-4.
But no, Savile tried everything there. He checked after hitting the flop. Then he bet, trying to make it look like a little steal, but it didn't work.
No.
Good try, though.
It was a good try.
He's made up with the queen 9. He's hit the 9. Hoosh has missed. What's going on here? So he hadn't missed, he hit the 5. Beg your pardon, that's what's happened. Anyone a club? Yes, Savile's got the club. He bets 12,000. Oh, and of course, Hoosh puts that down. Well done. But there's a pair of 10s and clubs out there. His measly little 5 didn't look too good. Well, he'll be looking to get some action with this because he's just gone behind a bit. Yep. Oh, he's just made it up. Oh, what a dream. He's hit the trip 6s. Now, Savile, unfortunately, hasn't got anything, but he's bet 4,000.
Oh, James has let him off the hook. Why would he raise?
Why, oh, why?
Yeah.
Can you get a more innocent flop than that?
Yeah, no, you definitely missed a great opportunity there, Hooch. Should have given him the...
The old slow play. That was crying out for slow play, that one, I think. Rainbow flop. Doesn't look too straighty. I mean, it was just about perfect, I think.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Shame. 2 pairs here for Savile. Now, this could be problems because Hoosh has got the 5, middle pair. Savile has bet 28. Is Hoosh going to get impatient here, I wonder? Oh, gosh, he has. I sensed it. But he's hit 2 pair as well. But it's no good because 10s and 4s beat 7s and 5s. And
wow.
Hoosh suddenly went wild.
It did. All the money would have gone in on the turn anyway, James, eh? He's not going to escape from that on the turn.
That is true. That is true.
But the play was wrong on the flop.
I do think so. I think he just overplayed it. And there was still a lot of play in the game. 2,000, 4,000. He still had play.
Yeah, he still had, what, about 15 times a big blind, something like that? A bit less.
That's a couple of hands in a row. He just misplayed there, Hoosh. He really should have slow played those trip 6s. It was
the 6s was a dream, wasn't it?
And, OK, you've been unfortunate in the end here, but slightly overplayed it, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, well done to Savile and Hoosh. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah, that was good.
Again, we've had a nice lot of play there in the end of these multi-table tournaments. And I think it is good. Let's take away from this. The small blind is out of position in this game. Do not be frightened to put it down because you are out of position. The big blind, if you just make up the small blind, can still raise you, and he's got position. It's massive. You're playing again. You're like a featherweight against the heavyweight in this situation. So you need to have something a bit juicy to get in there with, far juicier than normal. So don't get fooled by Harrington saying, yes, always call a small blind. Yes, it's when the small blind's on the button, not when it's off the button.
That's a very different proposition. That's the thing to watch out for.
We have to remember that, haven't we, Mark?
Do you know anyone else that does that, James?
If we take that away from here tonight, it's a big thing, isn't it? Massive thing.
It's a big thing, yeah, absolutely. Do you know anywhere else where they play the button in out of position like
that?
Well,
obviously all the Prima sites do the same because it's the same software. Well, I presume that Labrooks do the same because they've got the same software. It's got the same Macromedia software.
Yeah.
So I presume they do the same as well.
Microgaming.
Yeah, and it's called Macromedia, I think, the actual software.
No, that's Flash.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's Microgaming.
Okay, Microgaming. Okay, beg your pardon.
So, interesting stuff. It's been quite good tonight so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, we've picked up quite a few interesting situations. I think I like the fact when we touched on not trying to specifically guess a situation. I like the fact when we had that discussion about putting the whole window of what could be happening. It could be 20% he's doing this, it could be 30% he's doing that. He could have this many hands. I like that when we touched on that, and I want us to really think about that in future. I want us to also think about, we had a good talk about looking for value and about certain times where you know you're underdog, but the odds say you've got to be in there.
Yeah.
It isn't going to feel pretty, it isn't going to feel nice, but you are being offered too many odds to say no. I'm sorry. You have to be in there.
Something that was quite interesting because we touched on it as well, and Johnny Chan talked about it yesterday, was money management. He was stressing the point, don't play out of your bankroll, and that is huge in poker, isn't it? Because once you start feeling uncomfortable, and Sam was asking us the question earlier, once you start feeling uncomfortable about playing at certain levels, then that's when you shouldn't be playing at that level, isn't it? You should be dropping down straight away. As soon as you have that feeling in here, then you should be saying, I don't want to play at that level.
And Mark, I would say now, I'm happier to err on the side of caution with advice on bankrolls than the other way, because you can't be over bankrolled. That isn't going to be a problem. And if that is your problem, don't worry about it, because now you're there to survive all the fluctuations. And we want it that if you're a good player and you're capable of beating a level, we don't want you to suddenly be beaten by a horrible fluctuation where you should have been alive in this game forevermore winning. You got the horrible fluctuation, got wiped out the game. What a tragedy that would be.
Yeah, and the key here, as I said, just to reiterate the point, if you feel uncomfortable, look, you know within yourself when you're feeling uncomfortable with the level that's going on according to your money stack, drop down. As soon as you feel uncomfortable, drop down. That's key. You know, you don't even have to go through, you know, formulas to work it out. You just need to, as soon as you feel it, drop down. Well, it's been a good show. Tomorrow we've got yourself and Michelle.
Yes, oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so have fun tomorrow with James and Michelle. Until then, see you. Goodbye.
Good night.